Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in tonight for our latest episode. Uh, Tonight we have special guests Shawn St. Martin and Brian Mastrobuono. Mastrobuono. I hope I'm saying that right. I'm so sorry if I slaughter it because I'm horrible with names. Um, Two members of the band Hellbent, and we are actually going to be exclusively premiering some snippets from from a couple new songs off their new record, which is not out yet. So very excited to be doing that and to having them premiere here. So stay tuned for some of that. Please also support them. Follow their links on the home pages of the audio stream or the video if you're watching it. And go to their Bandcamp site. You can buy their old record, their EP. It's actually a free download if you want to do that, but we suggest that you please send them a donation, send them some money for it if you're downloading it, or you can buy their cassette. They have a package with stickers and a patch, so you could do that too. That would be much appreciated. Thank you very much. And yeah, just talking Black Sabbath tonight. Got the new their debut record. That's a 2010 reissue on 180 gram. So that's what we listened to, and that is going to be available as well if you're seeing this or hearing it now. So follow the links for that as well if you're interested in that, and enjoy the show. Thanks. I usually use a little bit of an alcohol solution, especially when it's something that's kind of sounds problematic, hoping that it will get into the groove, and like if there's something in the groove that's stuck, then that'll get it out. And so I played it again afterwards after doing that, and it played through. So
every once in a while I'll get a record and just have like a little hard, something hard.
yeah, a little white dot.
Yep, I'll just like go in there.
Yep.
It's like I'll watch the label and like listen where it is and like try to triangulate where it is, stare at it, and then like pick the little thing out.
Yeah.
Right.
Sometimes there might still be a little tick there, but it doesn't skip anymore.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I've run into a lot of those because I run into a lot of old records.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I found is that I do like a wet listen thing. Like, so I'll just put alcohol, like a half solution, so like a diluted
Do
alcohol.
you leave it wet?
When I play it?
Yeah.
Yeah. At least one time.
That's not good for the groove either.
No.
No.
So then because when
At least I know on shellac it isn't. Like for a lot of like old 10 inches where they're thinking they might get one play out of it just to be able to get the music off it, they'll like leave it wet. And that pretty much ruins the surface of it, but it'll sound good that one time, yeah. Vinyl I'm not sure about. But
oh, okay.
Yeah, usually I think it's a very small, I think it's like a low percentage of alcohol to...
Really?
Well, no, not for shellac. It's no alcohol because it'll just melt the thing. You just use water. But yeah, it's just that the needle in the groove, like kind of like.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of like a different format, right? I mean, like for those
it
little
is.
10 inches to be played. I mean,
it is, yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, like I said, I'm no expert.
Yeah.
But I do try that at least for the first time, especially for like an old dirty record. I'll like do that.
An old dirty record, yeah. I mean, I would worry more about the needle than the record at that point.
Yeah, that's why I just bought a new stylus, because I was just like, oh, it's about time. I mean, I've been putting this thing through the ringer, like as far as like playing old dirty records. And,
what do you have on there? I can't actually see it.
I actually don't know for sure. It's some generic needle, really.
Yeah. No, I meant the cart more than.
Oh, I don't know. I actually don't know the cartridge.
It's a stand?
Stand 502.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, I actually don't know much about my turntable.
Yeah.
I only recently saw that, I guess that the Techniques quartz are kind of desirable. But I picked this up at a Salvation Army or a thrift store years ago.
Yeah.
And I had no idea, and it didn't work great. It still doesn't work great, but it works well enough, that I can.
I have some Technics tables. They're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not like a big audiophile guy, so I don't really know.
Yeah.
I mean, I just took a chance. It was a cheap table. I was just like, I need a table because I want to start listening to records, and that was it. And so I remember, I think I brought it into Stu at Stereo Discount Center, and I told him what I told him what I had, because I wanted to get a new needle for it, because I was just like, I don't know what this thing's been through. You know, I mean, if I'm gonna put on some records, I want to put on, you know, nice new needle. And so he just gave me something that was like that, and now I just bought a replacement for it, and it happens to be the same exact one. Like literally looks exactly the same. So I'm like, okay, it's some generic needle, it's some generic stylus, I don't know,
Yeah.
but it fits for that. So
Yeah, that's the nice thing. I just have like a Shure cartridge that I got mine at like a thrift store, or a Shure cartridge, and then
Sure is a fine, yeah.
yeah, and then every like year or so, I usually just buy a new new needle and just pop them. They have my Guitar Center, the one I use.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, it's probably more of a DJ needle then.
I think it's like an all-purpose needle.
Yeah.
The one that I get.
yeah, like I said, I don't know.
I'm not that good. He knows that stuff.
I know a little bit. I'm not like,
Yeah.
I do have one audiophile table, but it's like an entry level one, and I got it pretty cheap. And I don't actually use it that much because it's a pain in the ass, because its philosophy is simplicity. So it doesn't have any automatic stuff. To even change like the speed, you have to lift up the platter and then change like where the belt is on like the different spindles.
That's a super common thing now. A lot of the new turntables have that.
Yeah, like that. What is that? The U-turn?
Yeah.
thing?
All
Those
ones
are
that look
those
like
are
that.
kind of modeled after. I have a Riga 2 planner, which it has an upgraded platter. It has like a glass platter with like a piece of felt on it to like, I guess, isolate more vibrations. But yeah, that's kind of based. The U-turn is based off of the
But
Riga
there's a
planner.
lot that are like the U-turn now. Like tons of companies are making.
Really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Like even the big names are making ones like that with the band.
Yeah.
Apparently it's quieter than the
Yeah.
direct drive than the drive. 'Cause
Well,
there's
yeah,
no
like-
drive, there's no mech
Like
drive
I've opened
mechanism.
up like one of these Technics things, and there's all these gears and stuff that
yeah.
mostly they're not doing anything, but when
Yeah.
it's like advancing the arm to like drop down and the thing to drop down the thing, you know, it borrows some energy, I guess, from the spinning platter, so you can get like extra noise from that or whatever, and just the way the motor is isolated by using like a a belt versus is that a direct drive? I'm
I think it is. It says DD automatic.
Yeah.
yeah, it's a direct drive. So that means that the spindle and the motor are like, you know, in it's just spinning in the motor. So that it can transfer vibration, you know, through the record into the stylus, and then, you know, back into the stereo. And I'll tell you, most of the time I don't notice, especially since I listen to loud, noisy music. I'm not listening to like really delicate classical stuff. Maybe some jazz stuff that's a little calmer. I could probably hear it a little bit, but generally, just let it roll. And also, I'm old, so I probably can't hear some of it anymore either. So.
Yeah. All the years of like the hard music, right?
Yeah, and just, I mean, I'm 50 now, so it's just naturally you lose like everything above 8K or whatever in the spectrum. You like just can't hear it anymore.
Right.
Were you there at the studio when Eric was like?
Yes.
So we were at the studio recording our new thing.
Hey Sean, can you pull up to the mic? I just want to make sure I get you.
Am I here?
Yeah, or you can bring it
Oh,
closer to you, or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I did. I brought it back.
So yeah, we're in the studio, and he was like messing with this graph and like dragging, and he's like,
Yeah, he was like, "What is that
He's like,
sound?"
"What is
He's like
that?"
exploring. Like,
he's like, there it is, and I was like, what? What are you talking about?
yeah, we were like, "What? You can't hear that?" And then he isolated it. It was like dead silent. Like I couldn't hear
He
anything.
kept playing it back, and literally all of us are gone.
In the studio.
Yeah.
Yes.
But Eric, I think he's got to be in his late 20s,
Yeah.
He's got to be 26, 27, and yeah.
Yeah, we're all over 40. So it's like none of us could hear the
That's
sound.
what
he
I'm
was
saying.
talking
Like
about.
below, like little kids can hear frequencies that like we can't hear. Like you hit
Yeah.
a certain age, and we were like, I don't know what you're hearing, but he goes, okay, I'll take care of it. And I'm like,
All right, we trust
Yeah.
you.
Well, engineers are like that. I mean, because they're using like good microphones. I mean, usually you can hear a lot of stuff. You can just like hear some like room noise, you know, and they pick up on that stuff. I mean, like I know I've been in a studio situation where the engineer has like said, "Hold on, guys, like, there's something I hear something," you know, and that's the thing. And they're like kind of hunting it down. And it could be something as stupid as like, you know, do you have keys in your pocket? And you're like, yeah. He's like, take those keys out of your pocket. You know, and it's something like that. He's like, okay, yeah, now we go.
Sam,
Is
our,
he-
ba-
are you tapping your foot? Are you in
Sam,
there
our
tapping?
bassist, likes to leave his cell phone in his pocket,
Yeah.
and it picks up like it like creates like this weird noise feedback
Yeah, yeah.
through his pickups.
Yep. Yeah, that's definitely a big red flag, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would probably say keep the cell phones out of the studio if you're recording. But speaking of the recording, do you want to talk about your new recording?
Sure.
This is what happened then?
Yeah, this was early February. We did like a crash course 2-day full album.
Yeah.
We wanted to get it done because we're playing at the end of May at Maryland Death Fest, and
Cool.
we've been talking about doing this album for 2
A
years.
while, yeah.
Like, you know, quite some time. So we finally had to set a date and do it,
Right.
so that we could try to get it out for that.
Cool.
So yeah, we booked 2 days and did 9 songs.
It was 10, really.
10. One's a medley. Two covers jammed into one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Cool.
But yeah, so that we've got coming out on CD and tape so far, and then we're waiting for hoping someone will step up and do the vinyl.
Sort of.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's like the vinyl. It's so expensive to press that it
Yeah.
just makes it harder for people to go and like to bite the bullet and like press something.
Yeah.
Get something pressed. You know?
Yep.
Obviously, it helps with the label. Like they pay for it for you basically. But then obviously they're looking for their money back. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you just find somebody who's a hobbyist who just wants to be somehow involved with the band or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all we'd be interested. I mean, that's all the tape label guys were interested in doing the tape, right? They were kind of just fans, right?
They are fans, but no, they're just newer.
Yeah.
I think they've been in existence a year.
But I
maybe
mean,
more.
really, they do what they like more
Yeah.
than like somebody at Victory Records just trying to find somebody that they can sign, will get popular, and then they can sell their contract to a major label or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, the music industry, I don't really understand too well. Like,
Mm.
I know what you're saying as far as like, there's like hobbyists that like, would just like to fund like a band because they like the band and like fund their pressing for whatever record they want to do, whether
Yeah.
it be like a 7-inch or single or something like that. But then like as far as like the major labels, the guys are looking to make money off of bands, I don't understand any of it. I really don't.
Me neither.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand that they want to make money. That's
Right.
the part I understand. That drive is pretty easy to understand.
Yeah. How they make their money, I guess, is the bigger picture
Yeah.
for me. Like, that's what I don't understand.
I mean, yeah, I mean, obviously there's been a lot of talk about that recently, and that it's come up more that bands are really paying in advance for, their recording costs, what do you call it? The cost for advertising it and stuff like that. They get all this stuff is they're kind of paid up front for it, and then they have to sell X number of records
To recoup that
before
money.
they recoup that money before the band actually makes any money.
Right.
The label is basically not taking any risk.
It's almost like the pay to play thing too, which is I think more
Yeah.
common than it used to be as well.
Yeah, not here, but I mean, are there really pay to play stuff going on in Rhode Island? I don't know.
I don't know about Rhode Island.
Yeah.
Maybe like FET.
Really?
There might
I
be
have no
some-
idea.
What? They
Live
have-
music you're talking about?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
like when they have like festivals, they do it a lot in Worcester.
Hmm.
There's a decibel tour there today, and I've heard that.
Is that the Morbid Angel thing?
Yeah, and I heard that at least 2 or 3 of the bands are like pay to play. They say you want to play this festival, you got to sell X amount of tickets.
Yeah.
Oh,
So the
that's
band comes
That's
up with
how-
whatever $900. They give them a bunch of tickets,
Right.
and then they have to sell those tickets for whatever they can. If
Yeah. Yeah, that's weird. I've been in a situation like that before. An old band I was in,
Yeah.
like they gave us tickets and said, just sell as many tickets as you can. Like, I mean, we were guaranteed to play. We were going to play. But
Uh-huh.
obviously, I think.
Did
that
you
that
have to
had-
put up any money
No.
up front?
Oh,
No, we
That's
didn't.
what
different.
this is.
This
Yeah.
is you actually.
You buy
Yeah.
the tickets from them
Yes.
and sell them to make your money back.
Right.
Yeah, that sounds fucked up.
It's a thing.
Yeah. But like,
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it kind of goes along with what you're saying with the labels too. Like the venues don't want to risk like you not drawing, so
yeah.
it's up to
Yeah.
you to sell these tickets and get people in the door. We don't want to lose any money off of it. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
It's weird.
Well, it's not even like you would have a guarantee. I mean, most bands, local bands, independent bands don't have guarantees. you
Right.
know?
No.
So I mean, really have to lose? I mean, you get anyone in the door, you're making your money off the bar, right?
Well, the bar is, I mean, it depends who the booking person is. Sometimes it's just
Yeah.
a guy who likes, you know, the bands or whatever, or I don't know. I don't know that end of it on the low end of that kind of stuff too much either.
I think it goes just for it. Usually is festival related. It's usually like a big name. That's you know, Decibel is the one who's hosting it.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
it's a
I
bunch of
know,
big name bands
like that,
who have a guarantee.
the other hell
Right.
band, the one that opens for like Power Man 5000. We're pretty sure that they're a band that kind of plays in that pay to play thing. Like they get to open for some major label band, so they have to put out, you know, a bunch of money to buy some tickets and then sell them to their friends or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds like shit. Like, I don't think I'd want to do
If
that.
you want to, I think for these major label bands that want to get signed, they see that as a way of getting exposed to people who like lousy major label bands. That's
Yeah.
kind of not what
Yeah.
the kind of people that we're looking for. I mean, obviously, not that you'll hear too much of it on this show, but
Right.
it's not very commercial. It doesn't seem like it's trying to find an audience exactly.
Mm-hmm.
We do what we like, and if there's people who like this kind of music, we know there is because we like it and whatever. They're there.
We're starting to realize our audience is like our peers, like our
Yeah.
our 40 and 50-year-old like
Right.
the funniest one of the funnier comments we played with this band Ringworm, who
Yeah.
our singer is a huge fan of, and they've been around since what, early 90s, mid 90s.
Maybe even like 89, but
Okay.
yeah, early
So
90s
they're,
anyways, yeah.
you know, they've been around for a long time. They put out some good records. Like they've never really sold out. They've been on, I think, Relapse for a long time. But they we had a chance to play with them back in July, I believe. And he said the singer said to us after our set, "Oh, that was awesome, guys." He's like, "Hey, you guys sound like a bunch of old guys who love old metal." He's like, "I don't mean that in a bad way, like in a good way, but
Yeah.
just like old dudes that love old metal."
Yeah. So I guess
That's what we are.
Yeah. The takeaway from that is that you guys have like an authentic metal sound, like more true to original, like older metal, basically.
There's not much modern stuff going on.
No, there's not.
No.
No.
I mean, metal's not my thing really. I'm
Yeah.
not really a very big metal fan. I mean, I do appreciate some of it for sure, but I don't know. I wouldn't be able to point out anything modern wise, like
Yeah.
modern music, like any new bands.
You know, it's like
It's nothing symphonic.
in essence, our music is still rooted to like punk and hardcore.
It's definitely
because
punky.
Yeah.
the stuff that
Based.
we're influenced by is coming like right out of punk and hardcore,
Right.
like the crossover.
Even bands
stuff,
that are
like,
considered completely metal, like a Celtic Frost or Celtic Frost, they borrow so much from like Discharge and like Motorhead that I mean, back then there wasn't as much of a division, I suppose, between extreme music genres or whatever either.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of where I'm coming from.
Yeah,
It's,
I mean, you could probably do the same thing with Black Sabbath, like that little turning point
Right.
right before.
from blues rock to heavy metal or something
Yeah.
like that.
Like,
Yeah.
That's kind of that 1970, 71 is like where probably 77, 78 is the turning point to,
So like the newer metal.
or stuff that was going to become metal, like the new wave of
Right.
new wave of British heavy metal stuff, where it's like
Yeah,
Punk,
all those
hardcore.
guys, they definitely had the influence of the power of punk, but they were still into, you know, Deep Purple and Sabbath.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much Deep Purple-y kind of stuff in new wave of British heavy metal that even people who like don't consider Deep Purple metal these days, they just, I don't know, they're kind of missing something that stuff was so important in the 70s
Mm-hmm.
for like the hardest edge rock kind of stuff going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
That just dismissing is kind of like, it's not metal. It's kind of
probably
it's
dismiss
weird
it.
to me.
They probably dismiss it because of the organ.
Yeah, the organ is.
But yeah, I mean, like
Right.
Richie Blackmore influencing Yngwie Malmsteen, influenced Uli John Roth is kind of in that same
Yeah.
Scorpions.
So that's kind of like something that I've heard a little bit about. Like in doing my research about this record, that kind of kept on coming up, how Black Sabbath was not technically a metal band, and to say that they were the founders of like metal is kind of preposterous, which I can kind of go either way on that, because especially thinking about this record, this being their debut, yeah, I mean, it's like a blues rock record. It definitely has some heavy rock to it.
Except for Black Sabbath, the song itself is not based around blues, at least not initially.
Yeah, that's probably the one.
But yeah, a lot of it you can definitely tell that they were like a bar band that played like a blues rock set.
Right.
Started adding their originals to it, but they still had kind of the trappings of
But
that hard blues rock.
You know, Black Sabbath is hailed as, you know, the creators of metal.
Sure.
So I mean, I don't know how true that is, because I'm sure that there were bands obviously that were similar to them. Probably around the same time period. Like this was what, from '69, was it? Or was it '71?
It was recorded, I think, November '69 and came out February 1970, I believe.
Okay.
On Friday the 13th or something. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
At least in
Brian-
England.
Brian
I
knows
think
his
over
facts.
here it came out a little bit later. But
Yeah. Oh, okay. But so you know, there's that too, where, you know, they said that they closed out the whole hippie era, you know. And then, so then it became this thing. It was a louder, more kind of...
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that was going on in that era. Like, I mean, would you call King Crimson hippie
Metal?
stuff?
Oh,
Not necessarily heavy metal, but I mean, that's hippie stuff? I mean,
Not at all.
no. It's
Mm.
progressive. It's probably earliest progressive rock example you can find that isn't kind of folk based or something.
Yeah. But historically speaking, it probably got pigeonholed in there only because hippies were listening to it. Because obviously it had to be some tripped out guys that were of that mindset.
Same as Sabbath, though, I would think. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
Except that, you know, so this had a harder edge to it, you know.
Sure.
King Crimson's more, you know, proggy and so kind of more experimental.
But I mean, I don't know. You know, 21st Century Schizo, I mean, that's a heavy song.
That's a really heavy song.
That's a really heavy song.
They had their moments, for sure. Yeah.
And I mean, obviously you can go back to like Blue Cheer.
Yep.
What is that?
Yes.
End of '67.
Some people claim that's the first heavy metal record.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's any first. It's everything was kind of head this way from like the Yardbirds and after. I think
Yeah.
they're kind of the
I know
ones
you
who
did.
really toughened up
Mm.
the blues rock aesthetic at first. I
You
think
know,
and
there was
everything was
this-
just heading that way.
When they finally like remastered that early Pentagram stuff, they were touting that as like before Black Sabbath. The early days stuff that they put out.
The early day stuff that's like dates back to '71 or '72, right?
But it was recorded, but I think they were saying that it was written
Really?
prior to the first Black Sabbath.
Mm.
I think that was what the argument was.
That's where everything gets so messy too,
Exactly.
right? It's
Yeah.
like, oh, we didn't record it before
Yeah.
this record was
Yeah.
released, but we
Mhm.
had those songs. So,
I always
okay,
heard
well,
the Lucifer's Friend, the first Lucifer Friend. That's a real heavy
Yeah.
record, and
Mhm.
you know, one thing I was gonna say is like, you know, you had another reason that might have be touted as the first is that Ozzy was a good-looking guy,
mhm.
and one thing I heard, like, Lucifer's Friend never got as big as them
They're
because
German too, right?
they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, they probably never got the distribution, and they probably didn't, and they also don't have the looks.
Right.
Mm.
They don't have the like charming, you know, young frontman. Because
It's
the
funny-
singer of Lucifer's Friend, from what I've seen, he isn't a good-looking guy.
I can't even
Yeah.
remember. Yeah, but yeah, there was
Sorry,
definitely
sorry if you're listening. I just,
there was definitely a ton of stuff happening in that era though. 69,
Right.
70, 71. The that High Tide
Mhm.
sea shanties. That's arguably heavier than Black Sabbath. It came out like in '69.
Mhm.
But
Brian looked at me because I just bought an original copy off of him.
yeah, I sold him my spare. So, but yeah, that's heavy as balls. And I mean, there was a
Yeah.
lot of other stuff like going on. So, I mean, obviously, Black Sabbath are arguably the greatest rock and roll band ever, if you're me,
Mhm.
and a lot of other people. But
Oh,
and whether they're the first metal band, I think it was going to happen anyway. Like when they talk about the first punk rock or hardcore stuff or whatever,
Right.
there was just stuff. It was something was happening in the air, and stuff was going that way.
Mhm.
And in retrospect, you can say this other stuff was like, you know, it was leading in this direction years before the actual explosion or whatever.
Yeah, the
Right.
Stooges, like the Stooges, they were like, here it is, and then you guys can do what you want with it in a few years.
Right. Kind of the same
You
thing
get-
though, where like the Stooges, they were just like doing like this heavy blues rock stuff. It was very bluesy, like kind of jammy, like it wasn't. I wouldn't consider it to be punk necessarily.
It's
only because of
definitely-
the attitude and maybe the
Or
the
garage
speed
rock,
of
I
it.
guess.
Garage rock, yeah.
Yeah, it was
that's a good
definitely
one.
garage rock. It wasn't blues rock in that there wasn't a lot of bluesy soloing,
Yeah.
and the chord changes were just simpler. But yeah, definitely garage rock.
Yeah.
Definitely where
Garage rock.
they were coming from, and then
Mm-hmm.
I mean a lot of that you could point to a lot of garage rock stuff that you look like that was like punk 10 years before punk.
Right.
In retrospect, I mean at the time it wasn't like this is the start of a new genre. Obviously, I mean,
Yeah.
You
It's
know,
so
like-
weird,
yeah.
how all these genres is kind of like melded together, and like obviously in between like time and then all of the different elements between all of these different bands and stuff. It's just like it's all kind of coming from the same thing.
yeah.
I mean,
I mean, I think that's part of the reason people like us collect vinyl and like obsess over music is like I love piecing together all that stuff and the timelines and
right.
you know even just members going to this thing and
Yeah, that stuff has blown my mind. How
Ian
like
Gillan
guys have
going
gone
to
from
Black
different bands.
Sabbath and all these like
Right. But
cool
wasn't Tommy
twists.
Iommi, wasn't he briefly part of Jethro Tull?
Jethro
before
Tull,
this?
yes.
yeah
You could see him playing with them in like
Rock and Roll
not
Circus,
Rock
wasn't
and
it?
Roll Circus, the Rolling
Yeah.
Stones Rock and Roll Circus, but he isn't actually playing. He never really played with them except at practice, I guess.
yeah
Oh,
But he's up there just mimicking
really?
in that. Yeah,
Just for the movie.
yeah.
he even like produced some of that early like 71 72 stuff like Black Widow didn't he
Black Widow, yes, yes.
but he's done some other records too like
Necromandus, I think
Yep,
it's called. Yeah.
Necromandus.
Hmm.
There's some stuff he produced once this kind of Black Sabbath took off. He started producing these like satanic, evil blues rock witch
Yeah.
groups.
Oh, weird.
The occult.
Yeah, cult. None of those records were that great though, from what I remember.
They're not that great,
No.
but they're okay.
They have the
As a
Black
record
Sabbath.
collector, I can appreciate it that it's like you don't have to listen to the same 107, classic rock LPs that they play on,
Right.
HJY, our local classic rock station,
Right.
day in and day out. And you can
Right.
find all these obscure records that have slipped through the cracks, and then just in recent years, people have like been on the internet, just spreading the word. Like, dude, you gotta check this out.
Mm.
look at
This is just as good as whatever.
look at how big Coven is now, or how recognized Coven is.
I guess they actually did have a top 40 hit though.
Did
But
they?
I mean, like a Sir Lord Baltimore, they never did anything.
Yeah,
Leaf Hound,
that's a great band.
yeah.
That's a
But I
great
mean,
record.
yeah, I mean a lot of the other stuff. Captain Beyond. I mean that first
Yeah.
LP is an all-time classic to me, and it was just almost completely overlooked for the last 35 years from its release until like the internet age or
first
whatever.
Atomic
it was.
Rooster.
The first, second Atomic Rooster.
That's true.
second Atomic
Rooster,
Rooster.
which is like 71.
Yep,
Oh,
71.
they're heavy metal records.
Yeah.
They're almost as heavy, if not heavier than that. But
Right.
they just slip through the cracks.
Yeah.
They get.
Right.
I mean, it's a whole new generation that can appreciate Deep Purple and rock now.
Right. Yeah, it's so strange how many bands that have been around, even like around the same time that Black Sabbath was starting out, and how just like you're saying, they just fell through the cracks. Like, I can see that happening now because like there are so many goddamn bands today.
Yeah.
It's like it's okay. It makes sense that so many are kind of like falling through the cracks. It's just like you can't keep up with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, for bands like that, like those more obscure, trying to come up with them now, like trying to find those records and buy them, like if they are, either you find an original, must be really hard, right? I don't know how many are being repressed. Aren't they more expensive now? Like way more expensive?
I got lucky and I got in on a lot of this stuff right when it was breaking, so I was able to
Yeah.
get a lot of it for pretty cheap, like even cheaper than like buying just a new record now. Like I got both Sir Lord Baltimores for $4 each.
Mm-hmm.
I was just telling Brian because I don't have Kingdom Come,
Yeah, the second
the
one.
second one.
And that's like a $50 record
is
all day long now.
$50
Right.
all day long.
And it's not nearly as good as the first one either. So.
It's crazy.
But yeah, the price has definitely gone up for the originals. I mean, some of this stuff is already expensive, like that Leaf Hound we were talking about. That was already expensive in psychedelic circles.
Yeah.
Before like the internet thing broke, it kind of broke the more hard rocky kind of stuff to like greater attention.
Those are like $400.
Yeah, they have been as long as that, even
Same
more.
with that. I finally broke down about that orangutan album.
I don't know that one.
It's like orang hyphen tang. Utang. I finally bought the reissue of it because they're just like $500. Just one record, heavy blues rock, 71-ish.
Right. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why. It's like, it seems like metal records especially, like metal records, and then like, you know, obviously obscure like psychedelic rock, garage rock stuff, so expensive.
Rob
right?
from Time Capsule will tell you, like, that's where I shop there every Friday. Brian,
I haven't been
It's
there
been
in a
going for
while, but
years,
yeah, I've
but
gotten tons of good stuff.
Rob will always like be like, I might be putting some metal out next week because he knows that's what I'm into. Brian's into.
Right. And it goes so fast.
It is in and out.
Right.
And the prices of it have just.
Yeah. I can't get my hands on any.
Yeah.
I can't get my hands on any because I'm just like, I can only spend so much. You know, I just spent I'm going to end up paying like $460 for like 40 records. And I don't think there's any metal in there. Like there's all these lots that I bought at an auction that happened recently. And I'm really looking forward to it. Actually, a lot of good stuff is going to be in there. But it's just like the metal stuff, that like fucking 5 records to sell for that much.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, fuck.
I gotta rewind really quick. So speaking of in rock, I know you had Dan St. Jake's on here.
Yeah.
For Raw Power.
Uh-huh.
So the first time I ever heard in rock, obviously I knew Deep Purple, but I didn't know in rock as an album. And this goes back to probably 1998. And I was at One Up.
Yeah.
You know, on Steeple Street or whatever.
Steeple Street, yeah.
Yeah. And I was there with Paul Vieira.
Getting wasted.
having some beers, and we were the bar closed and we were leaving, and I'm trying to remember who. I think it was that guy Pete. They used to bartend at the Met Cafe.
Oh.
They were in some bands.
Yeah, yeah.
Pete and like another guy, Johnny or something. I think it was Pete and Johnny.
What's his name? Pete.
They're like Newport guys, I think.
Yeah.
But in any case,
was he part of Mother Jefferson?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Those guys. So one of those guys said, "Hey, we're gonna go back to Dan St. Jake's place. Come on." And I was saying this was Red Rum back then.
Oh yeah.
And Paul's like, and I was like, I just want to go home. He's like, "Come on." And I think we'd walked because we lived near there, and Pete gave us a ride to Dan's. So we get there, and it's already 2 a.m. And I'm not really much of a smoker, but they all like wanted to smoke. So we go up in Dan's loft above Red Rum.
Oh yeah.
Dan puts on In Rock.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like, this is awesome. I've never heard this record. And then so it went through once, and I'm like, okay, we're good. We've been here for like 45 minutes. I'm ready to go. No one's going because we got to ride. First of all, we're not walking from Olneyville all the way back to Hope Street.
Yeah.
Oof. Yeah.
So we're kind of stuck there. We're like kind of at Pete's mercy, and he's having a blast, and everyone's drunk, and we're smoking. And I'm like, jeez, I just want to go to bed. So I had this point. So then Dan, instead of like going down and getting more records, he just put In Rock on again. And so my solution was, okay, I don't even smoke. I was like, I'm getting stoned out of my mind. I'm just gonna go green. I'm gonna blow my own mind. And fine, give it to me. I started smoking, and I swear we listened to that record 5 times. We had to be there till 5 a.m.
Oh man.
And I was like, beyond stoned, just listening to In Rock on repeat for hours and hours.
But so then now you loved it. That was part of your DNA.
It's probably my favorite Deep Purple record.
Might be mine too.
Yeah,
It's real good.
It's really.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was because of that experience or if it's just a great album, but
Could be a little bit of both.
Yeah.
You know, music has that effect, you know, where it kind of ingrains itself into a moment in your life.
Yeah.
So, and if that was a positive experience in your life, then it's always going to have a positive experience when you hear it again. It's going to kind of bring you back to that same spot, right?
I'm pretty sure my copy of Volume 4 came with a pack of zigzag rolling papers in it, like a nice 70s original pack of zigzags.
that came with the record, or you mean
Well,
like
like
someone slipped
someone-
it in?
Unintentionally.
They had him in there since like got filed away in 19.
Sitting there with a
76
gatefold in
and-
their lap,
Right.
Yep.
rolling a
Oh,
joint.
yeah.
Hide him from mom and dad.
That's what I was telling Dan about that Raw Power record. It was the first pressing. I was just like, can you imagine what kind of drugs might have been done off this record?
Exactly. That's another reason it's hard to find good metal records, because a lot of them got trashed.
Destroyed,
on
absolutely.
the party. Like for years, I was looking for "Too Fast for Love," the first Motley Crue.
Mm-hmm.
That record's trashed always.
Mm-hmm.
It's a party record.
Yeah. Well, that band, for sure, has a reputation.
None of them are dead yet, though, so I say they're a bunch of posers. That's what I'm saying.
They've all come pretty damn close, I guess.
But they haven't.
No.
One of
they
them's
have not.
one of them is a murderer /
right.
manslaughterer. But
Right. He managed to slip death's grip.
Yeah.
He fucking managed to kill somebody else.
Yeah, Hanoi Rocks though they get the props. Yeah.
Who?
Hanoi Rocks. It was the drummer of Hanoi Rock that
Oh, yeah.
died in
in
that
a
car
that's right.
accident with Vince Neil. Yeah.
Right.
Guns N' Roses can thank them for a lot.
Really?
Just for their look and
Yeah, they're kind of
yeah.
styled. A
glam
little
metal.
bit of the music.
Didn't Vince Neil threaten Axl Rose to a fist fight? Like, didn't he challenge him to a fist fight?
Oh, I don't know.
It was something like on TV. I remember some interview or something I saw with him. Like he was like calling him out like it was like fucking WWF. You know, it was just like on TV, like on MTV, just him on the camera being like, hey, you know, calling Axl out. Being like, you know, if you want to talk shit, like we can just settle this. You know, you're like, what? Come face to face with me. We'll fucking do this. You know, I'm like, this is so weird.
Probably. You know, I'm a bit older, so like all that hair metal stuff, even like the stuff that was a little bit harder, like Motley Crue in the beginning and whatever, all that stuff was the enemy. When I was like, you know, really
Right.
into metal, like you were either into like Motorhead and harder bands, or you were a fucking poser, you know. So
Right.
I don't like. I don't like that stuff
Yeah,
at
see,
all. Like,
I'm right at that age.
Makes sense.
I'm
Yeah.
like,
Right.
to me, like I was a little kid, and like that stuff was, that's what MTV was born. Like, you know, like I was. What year did MTV come out? 83,
it might have been 81.
81.
I think it was. Yeah, I think it was
Yeah.
81.
Well, either way, I was like.
Oh, yeah, we
six,
grew
I was
up
like
on it.
6 years old, 7 years old.
Right.
So I'd see that metal stuff, and
It's absolutely understandable.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like how I'm kind of like how much I like Kiss, because I know like a lot of young people, they can't stomach Kiss at all because they only know like the clowny Kiss.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, my father, who only 19 years older than me, he was into Kiss from like day one. Like he got the first LP right when it came out. I didn't know for years that there was a pressing of the first Kiss LP. After the first 60,000 pressing, they added the song "Kissing Time" to it. I didn't know that until the 90s because I'd never heard a copy of the LP that had that song on it.
Hmm.
So he was into like 74. He was into Kiss. So you know, to me that was it.
Uh-huh.
And like he had the New York Dolls first LP.
Huh.
I mean, at the time I had no point of reference of like
Right.
a lot of music, so I thought it was normal that people listen to this kind of hard rock kind of
Right,
stuff.
right.
And it was, yeah, I mean, Kiss was, they were a fucking heavy band for the time.
For the
I mean,
time, guess,
looking
yeah.
back now, it's like,
it
you know,
doesn't seem that hard.
oh, it's just, you know, kind of just blues rock kind of stuff, like just pushed a little bit more with the costumes or whatever.
Yeah.
But to me, they still, like, they have so many good songs. They were a good band, songwriting band. They wrote a lot of, I mean, it's
catchy stuff.
it's
Yeah,
catchy
I
stuff.
agree. They're really good songwriters.
Yeah.
They're not the greatest musicians. Like
No, absolutely not. They had that great gimmick of the, you know,
Yeah.
the whole stage show, and
That's
their
really,
records look
really good.
fantastic. All those early records, they look unbelievable.
Hmm.
Like when I was getting on my punk rock station, I was just buying records based on the cover. I mean, a Kiss record,
for
you
sure.
would look at that and just go like, I gotta buy this. This looks wild,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. And it was, but in a different way. Not necessarily wild, like, you know, kind of get in a pit and fucking get
Yeah, I mean, like a Hypnosis record, you know, where they designed the cover to like all these classic rock records in the '70s or whatever, all those Scorpions records
So
and
actually-
UFO.
you know, saying the whole thing about MTV and like liking the hair metal stuff, but actually my first loves, my first records were Kiss.
Really?
The first things I had on vinyl.
What like the first Kiss record you had?
The first record I think I ever owned on the first vinyl I ever had
Mhm.
was Billy Squier. The one with stroke on it. I forgot the name.
Right. I don't know. I don't even have that one.
And then I believe the second, I bought two. I went to there was this drugstore in my hometown that you could buy records at. Like the magazine rack, but there was also like
Yeah,
the
couple
vinyl rack.
LPs, right?
And I bought AC/DC for those about to rock,
Oh.
and Ozzy Speak of the Devil, the
Hmm.
double live where he
Yeah,
has
yeah.
all Black Sabbath songs.
Yeah.
And those, I was probably 7 years old. And then that birthday, that like 7th birthday party, my grandmother got me a bunch of Kiss LPs.
Your grandmother?
My grandmother.
That's
And
awesome.
Wow.
I got Kiss Destroyer. I got
Yeah.
Kiss Dynasty.
Not a good one. Yeah.
Oh, I disagree. I love Dynasty.
Really?
Love it. But it might be the nostalgia.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because like here I am 7 years old, like it still sounds heavy to me.
Yeah.
You know. And Destroyer and one other. It might have been Alive 2. No,
Alive
no,
2?
Alive 1. No, it was Alive 1.
Okay.
And those were like my first LPs.
Wow.
Then MTV and hair metal and
You
stuff.
got an awesome
but
grandma.
she was cool.
Yeah.
She was like a roller skating, like competitive roller skater.
Really?
Yeah.
Up until how old?
She was roller skating until like her, I think, early 70s.
Jesus
I don't.
Christ.
She wasn't competing, but she would. Yeah, she had her.
Still like doing it?
Yeah,
You got a hardcore grandma.
she was good.
Yeah.
She was.
You can try some of this if you want, by the way.
Could I?
You ready?
Sure, yeah.
107 proof. You ready?
Yeah, might as well.
We might not be able to finish the show.
So no better time than now. What is this, man? Old Weller, but
Old
this like
Weller
when you're-
Antique, 107. I think that's right after they removed the age statement. It used to be 7 years. It's good stuff.
Well, thank you for
It's
bringing it. I didn't
it's-
know you were going to bring your own stuff. Yeah.
He mentioned it was a bourbon thing. I was like, I gotta bring something that's like good.
Well, I always like to offer a drink. You know, I mean, it's not like it has to be. It's not like we have to drink, but I mean, I enjoy having a bourbon.
I haven't been able to drink with anybody in a while because Drop Dead, my other band, hasn't played a lot of shows in recent years because
Yeah.
our singer had he had a back surgery and then he
Oh.
fell off his motorcycle.
Jesus.
But yeah, one of my favorite things is like after a show, just kicking back with some guys, just drinking something, talking shit about music, politics, whatever, you know?
So this is right up your
The
alley.
opening bands.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, talking shit about the opening band.
We would never.
Nice guys, but
Who are we to talk? Seriously.
Well, like just being, objective, just like this, talking about bands that you listen to. I mean, you
well,
don't have to be playing with them. that much, that's
subjective,
all.
I would say, but whatever. It's,
I enjoy it when Brian drinks. I'm like the pusher man. I'm always trying to get him to have a couple drinks. Listen
Yeah.
up.
Have fun.
That I've been known to do that myself. Like everyone considers me the fun drunk. So I don't drink too often anymore. But now that I do, I'm just like, oh, I get to be fun again. All right, let's do it.
Well, cheers.
Cheers, yeah, for sure, man. Thank you guys for coming. I didn't even do the proper introduction or
Who needs that?
yeah. Well, I'll do it later. But
Tack it on the front.
yeah, I'll tack it on for you guys. Thank you for coming, though. I do appreciate you guys coming down and doing this with me.
I knew I had to bring Brian.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great suggestion.
I mean, he knew the dates it was recorded and released, like off the top of his head.
Right.
I like Black Sabbath.
He's got to.
Yeah.
He's got to be.
I do have all the LPs
Yeah.
except for the end CD EP thing they were selling on the last tour. That's
Mhm.
the only thing I don't have.
Jeez, I could have bought it for you.
Oh, I went. It was $30. I was
Oh.
like, fuck that.
Oh, it was just a tour special?
Yeah. But I mean, then somebody bootlegged it on vinyl, and I tried to find it, but that was right at the cusp of where Discogs started,
Yeah,
removing the sale thing of bootlegs
Right.
on Discogs, so you can't sell bootlegs on there anymore.
Oh.
You
You can
still-
find it other places.
You can still find some.
Yeah.
It's hard though. I mean,
Because it's so expensive, right? I mean, everyone's upcharging them now.
no, it's like there hasn't been any on eBay in a while. I checked a lot of other stores. I think it's just sold out now. I don't know.
Hmm.
It'll come up eventually. Somebody else will bootleg it at some point too. I mean,
Right.
Excuse me.
Makes sense.
or the same guys just make another 500 and
Yeah.
do it in a different colored vinyl.
Yeah. That's what they all do, huh?
Yeah.
A friend of mine fucking did that recently. We sold his copy to our friend Daryl, actually. He was Snake Finger live in Melbourne. You familiar? You like him? No?
I
He
know
was
him.
a player for the Residents.
Oh.
But
okay.
so it was a limited edition, like numbered 300 pressings from Secret. I can't remember the name of the record label now. Hidden Secret Records or something like that. So Sneak Finger live in Melbourne '81, double album, 3 sides though. 4th side was a screen print.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah, it was really great vinyl. Newer pressing, I think it was from like late 2000s or something like that. He sold this copy to my friend. He just bought a new copy because he was just like, oh, that record label put out more copies of that record, so I bought another new one. I'm like, why did you do that? You just fucking sold it. Why are you buying a new copy? But so he buys a new copy. I went to his house the other night and I'm looking at it. I was just like, dude, this is like the same jacket. Like, this is all the same. It's just like colored vinyl.
Yeah.
Like, you can even see, like, even on the back, they had just like used a gold marker and just crossed out the 300 and it was just like numbered it by hand and like numbered it to like, oh, now it's 7 out of 125 as opposed to the fucking whatever out of 300 that you bought before.
Yeah.
But it's the same jacket, same artwork. I was just like, they probably had overstock. They were just like, let's just print out some more vinyl of this and put them out.
That's not uncommon.
Yeah, but I'm just like, I was just like, I don't see that as making much sense, you know. And then I didn't ask him. I asked him what he bought it for. He didn't tell me. But I was just like, okay, you just sold this one for like $90. And how much did you buy this thing for? I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me.
If he turned a profit, I don't know. He was a smart one, right?
Well, I mean, but then to buy it again, I'm like, why did you sell it in the first place?
Because he's going to wait for that second one to go up to 90. And I'm just gonna
Right.
The
Keep
cycle
on revolving
continues.
It's an investment.
Yeah. I'm not one to talk, I guess, whatever. This is kind of what I do, so. But I don't know, I guess I don't buy for myself. I just buy because now I get to like listen to everything and kind of, that's pretty fun for me because sometimes I get a lot of records I've never been able to listen to before.
Oh my God. You mean like stuff you just, the name of?
I
or
heard
something.
about it, but not
Right.
been able to sit with it, and now to have it on vinyl and like
Yeah.
kind of like sit with
There's
it.
definitely stuff like that. Like I just bought that the Diamond Head White album, but it's a double album and has like extra stuff on it.
Oh.
Mhm.
I mean, I know the songs, but to hear it in original order and stuff like that, I think a lot of times a lot of albums make more sense, like hearing it in the original order that the band meant it to be in or whatever, versus just hearing songs here and there.
Right.
I've definitely had records like that I did not get until I heard it in their entirety like that.
Yeah.
And actually haven't opened
That's
it.
a high roller one, wasn't it?
The High Roller one, yeah, on white vinyl.
Yeah, I got that like maybe a year ago.
Yeah, I think they printed it 3 times now, but whatever, I didn't have it before. But yeah, on another tangent with vinyl acquisition, for whatever reason, I decided to clean up my office, which is also my record room, and electronics room, and instrument room, or whatever. So it's kind of cluttered. And I just started going through 7-inch boxes, and I realized after like going through a bunch of stuff, I had 7 boxes of records I bought that I'd mostly hadn't listened to.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and they're like 100 records each in each box or something, like 80 to 100 records in each box each.
Oh, man.
I was like, wow, man. Like, I bought them like on tour, and then like maybe some of them I listened to once. Then there was just dozens of like dollar bin 90s hardcore records that I've never listened to mixed in there. I was like, what am I doing with my life?
Oh man.
See, I have a system. Like whenever I buy stuff, it always goes. It's leaned up to the right of my record player on the floor, and it's always in that same spot.
Right.
And I won't file it until I
I'm
listen
better
to
with
it.
the LPs than the 7
Yeah.
inches.
I
The
can imagine,
LPs
yeah.
I've been putting, like I have a box next to my record player in the living room. And I'll like, just put on the record while I'm like doing dishes, or I'm sick of watching, procedural crime solving shows on like cable or whatever. I don't even have cable. I have like, like Roku channels or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll just listen to them like that, and I'll actually get them listened to. And I have not listened to that Diamond Head yet. But yeah, the 7 inches. Oh, apparently I'll go into some record store in like Wisconsin, and they'll just have a dollar bin, and I'll just find all these like records of bands that I know, and I just never picked up their records. And I'll have like 50 of them, and then at the end of the tour, they'll just go in a box, and they'll just sit there for 10 years, and I'll just forget about them.
Yeah. So how many records would you say that you have?
because I've listed almost all of them on Discogs, I have at least like 8,200 records. So
Wow.
most of them I've listened to, but these 5 to 700, I'm not sure how many of them I've actually listened to at this point. Because a lot of them are kind of generic hardcore, and I could have listened to them.
was like 2,200, so in that ballpark.
That's still a lot.
So you have like 4 times as much as we.
Yeah, for most people, I mean, obviously he's like an insane collector, but
Right. Yeah.
and there's people next to me who are like completely insane. So
Yeah, well, there's a lot of people out there like that. I mean,
Yeah.
I definitely have known a couple of people where, you know, their houses, they have a room maybe this size and it's just all records,
yeah,
you know, and then,
I just keep going higher, and like my furniture is slowly becoming like all record things. Like
Right.
my end tables are now record things. My entertainment center is a record cube.
Right.
Everything's becoming.
something to hold
All the
records.
furniture is records. You know.
I have it maintained so it's mostly one room, and then just like the overflow is in the
Yeah.
just one box that I have like of stuff I haven't listened to yet, or I've only listened to once and I want to listen to it again before it gets filed away.
See, I'm lucky. I actually have a house. Brian's in an apartment.
I'm in
with
an
these
apartment,
records.
yeah.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
Actually, all my 10-inch shellac 78s are in the living room permanently, because we have like an end table from like the 20s that's like a record table,
Mm-hmm.
so I keep all those records in that thing.
Yeah. Do you have a lot of 10 inches or no?
Maybe 150.
Oh.
It's not a super ton, but still, if I find like country and western stuff, rhythm and blues, if I can find it, it's so hard to find here. When I was in Cleveland, I found so much R&B stuff for like $1, $2 each.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Um,
Yeah, that's the great part
it-
about traveling, huh? Because you get to hit all these like weird spots.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You know, and God knows what they have. You know, that you're at the mercy of the store, and all these stores in different regions get all this.
Yeah, and
stuff,
different
right?
different demographics. I mean, apparently,
Right.
in the Midwest, in certain cities, there was a larger black population than there was in Worcester and in Providence or whatever. Because I mean,
Right.
like I almost never find like a funkadelic record here, where you can find
Never.
like a ton of them if you're
Never.
in like
Yeah.
a big city in the Midwest. I guess
Right, right.
Chicago.
never-
and
You mean
never
like
see those
dollar
really
bin? You
funky
mean
though.
kind of like just kind of crate digging for something?
Yeah. Not necessarily dollar bin, but even not like a new reissue.
Right.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed it here that like funk stuff, you just don't see a super ton of it.
Mm.
That's absolutely true.
And when you do, it's like destroyed too.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah, like, I just came
it's
across,
absolutely destroyed.
I got a
That's-
Parliament Chocolate City. I found one, but it's not great.
You know what's funny? That's the only Parliament I have on vinyl.
Really?
Yeah, it's the only one I found.
And I had never heard of it. I saw it. I was just like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, it's decent. Like
Yeah.
it's like their
I don't
I
have
think
it.
it's like their 4th record, maybe.
Really?
But all the funkadelic stuff, forget it. You never see that stuff.
Mm.
And when
think
I do, it's like
I think I
destroyed.
have like America Eats Its Young, maybe the only
Yeah.
one I have on vinyl. But
I
like
only
those,
have a couple. Yeah.
like Maggot Brain stuff, forget it.
I do have Maggot Brain, and it's destroyed, but you can listen to Maggot Brain no matter what it sounds like. I think. I mean, that is just such a. That song is just so. It's like comes from a spiritual place, even though I'm not spiritual. But it's like
Mhm.
it's just pure emotion.
Well, did you
I
know
think.
what he like told? He told
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
what's his name?
Eddie
Hazel.
Eddie Hazel. Yeah.
He like said, like when they're in the studio, he said to
That solo. Play that
Bill,
solo.
he said when you do the solo,
Well, take acid.
Think of the saddest thing or most
Oh,
upsetting
and
thing.
like your mother just
Right.
died.
He was just thinking about your mother dying. Like,
Yeah.
you could play
Well,
that
no, I
solo.
think he came up with the mother thing. I think he said,
Oh, really?
think of the thing that would make you, and then he
Thought about
put himself
it.
in that space of
That's
like,
why.
my mother just died.
Right.
It's awesome.
It's crazy.
It's just like
Eddie
the
Hazel
guitar
record
is
is
like
great, too.
wailing. I mean, a guitar and saxophone, I think, are like the two most expressive instruments for
Mm.
like human voice kind of emotion kind of stuff.
Absolutely. Like Coltrane, I mean, he's just
Coltrane,
just
yeah.
a voice. It's not a saxophone, it's his voice.
Yeah. Crazy.
I mean, we could talk about Coltrane for like 10 hours, for 5 days.
I
but-
have a copy
Yeah.
of Giant Step in the house right
Nice.
now.
Nice.
It's not mine. It's my friend's, but it's there.
It's a good one.
Yeah, man. A lot of good
Om.
stuff. All right.
I
Well,
like it.
hey, I wanted to talk about your new record
Yeah.
a little bit.
Okay.
At least.
Our new record that doesn't exist yet, but
Well, I mean, you guys are getting ready to get it out.
Yeah.
You know, so tape and CD and download for now.
Yep. And it'll be, so what we're gonna do, the plan is, to have 100. I believe it's going to be 100. Definitely 100 CDs, and probably 100 tapes, which are going to be Maryland Death Fest exclusives.
Oh,
So like you act like, so it's for people who are actually going to go to the fest can buy it. They'll have the first dibs at it.
Right.
And
Is it
then
gonna have
it's-
it like a special cover or something?
Maybe.
I mean, you work at a print place, you could
Yeah.
just run off some covers, and if they don't sell, we just rip up the covers, put them in a normal cover or something, I don't know.
Something to that effect. At least maybe the shells will be different on
Yeah.
the cassettes for that run. And then the official release will probably be in June.
Oh, okay.
You know, probably
And then, like you said,
bigger
you know,
numbers. and
depending
we'll-
on if there's any vinyl interest, any kind of like, you know, people that would be interested in kind of either pressing it for you or funding it or something like that.
Yeah.
Cool. But so 9 songs, full length.
10.
So
songs?
the last track, the 9th track is 2 like minute and 45-second songs
Yeah.
back to back. Of
It's
this.
by this Chicago early speed metal band called Snow White.
Mm-hmm.
Originally called Snow White, where they were 3 black guys and a white girl as the singer, and that was their concept. They were kind of like
She
3
was
black
Snow White.
dwarfs and something, I don't
Yeah.
know. But then they changed to Snow White.
Huh.
And what is that 12-inch from? The 12-inch that we do the song from is from like 84, but those songs existed in 83 for sure. And
That
one of
would
the
be
other
84,
songs is off of Metal Massacre 3, which is Metal Massacre is the comp series that launched almost every major thrash band and second tier and whatever thrash band. Metallica, their first song was on Metal Massacre 1.
Yeah.
Slayer's earliest stuff is on there. So it was, at the time, it was a super important series of American heavy metal
Yeah.
compilations. And they were on one of them because they were, at the time, they were an important band. Now, I don't know how many people like them. I don't know. I think, I've always thought they were really good.
Yeah. It's one of those bands that fell through the cracks.
And they didn't do a reunion after, they didn't do like a 90s and,
Yeah.
post-millennial reunion. So I think they're mostly forgotten.
They
You
still have
still
an
get the-
opportunity, right? I mean,
We actually
any of the
tracked.
members are still around.
We
aren't they?
actually tracked down the guitar player, which was he used a stage name,
Uh-huh.
but we tracked down his real name from like somewhere I don't remember, and then I found his Facebook thing. He's playing in like an R&B covers band now,
Wow.
and we actually asked him, it was like, "Yo, we're gonna do these covers or whatever. Is that cool with you?" And he like,
He
He
said,
was
"You have my
blessing in an email,
Enjoy.
yeah.
Have a good time." Like I was
Oh,
like,
wow.
"That's
"Yeah, it
really
looks
cool."
like he has nothing to do with metal at all anymore." But
But
Yeah.
he's
Yeah, so I don't see-
credited for all their music and
yeah.
so
He's the guy.
We
that
found
kind
him
He
of-
was the
Facebook.
guy. He was the band,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah.
Wow. That's
it was
awesome.
kind of funny. But yeah,
Well, maybe you
So
guys
we're doing-
can kind of create
was
a
kind of this funny-
revitalization.
you know, it's funny. We took this kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier, where our music is this still rooted in this old guy, old metal thing.
Mm-hmm.
We took these 2. Aaron, our singer, suggested. He's like, "Hey, we did this Snow White cover," and it really fits right into our style.
Mm-hmm.
It was really easy to cover them, and it doesn't. At the end of the record, it's not this like jarring like
Yeah.
change of genre. You know, it's not like, oh, we're gonna Hellbent's gonna do a cover of like Jefferson Airplane and like make it metal.
Right.
It actually kind of sounds like it could be one of our songs,
Yeah.
but it's
So
really
you didn't do
wonderful.
any tweaking to the record to that song, really? You just kind
No,
of like.
No.
it is straight cover.
Yeah.
Except I did the solos on it, which I'm not
Yeah.
a lead player, so
Oh,
I did some punk.
You can definitely
solos.
you can definitely see some punk in Snow White though. I
Yeah,
think.
absolutely.
I mean,
Right.
it's 3-chord, like speed metal, early thrash metal,
Hmm.
and I mean the word thrash was originally used in hardcore before it was used in metal,
Mm-hmm.
to just describe fast bands or whatever. I mean, I don't know. I think I also knew Snow White. I mean, but Aaron, Badger definitely came up with doing these songs. And then, I
Well,
went back and I
actually-
was like, they have a song called Hellbent too. I was like, maybe we can
That
do
was-
that.
That's what I was
Yeah.
gonna say.
So
Yeah.
would you start off as the first track, like?
Well, what? Yeah. So he was like, oh, let's do this.
That's the last track on the LP is Hellbent, the Snow White song.
Oh no, I'm just saying like Black Sabbath. The first track is Black Sabbath.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
You could do Hellbent first song. Call the record Hellbent.
But yeah, we were.
It's actually the last song, but yeah,
Yeah.
same idea though. Like,
We were just gonna do one. We were just gonna do Sledgehammer, their song Sledgehammer, and it's only like 1:45, and I was like, dude, it was on Hellbent. We gotta do it.
yeah,
Gotta. And so I mean, combined.
it is kind of the
3
same
minutes.
style too. Like much like punk, it's like basically the same song. It's
Same
like-
format. Like yeah.
Yeah.
Solo comes in at the same spot. It's.
I have no problem with that. I would rather listen to a good Ramones song and 10 good Ramones song in a row than like, something that's innovative and I just don't like.
Mm.
I'd rather hear something done well than something that's innovative.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. And like done well. That's
Yeah.
what I mean. Not just like it's
Right.
generic and it's whatever. I would rather hear a style done well than hear something that's innovative. That like not every innovation is great.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I mean,
yeah. Yeah, no, I guess.
There are some innovations that are fucking mind blowing, but some that are just like.
Well,
And then
is that
somebody comes
innovative?
along later and can refine it and make it better or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't think of something off the top of my head,
Mhm.
but I can definitely think of, later examples of styles that have been done better than the originators.
Right.
In that respect, that
Yeah.
innovation isn't always the best thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I
You know
guess I
who
could see
hates the
that.
Ramones?
Huh?
Don Dokken hates the Ramones.
Really?
I watched some of those documentaries on not Netflix, Amazon. One of those like thrash metal, heavy metal from LA documentaries, and
It's probably in volume 2 because I watched volume 1 of that.
it wasn't the thrash one. That was like
No?
it was like LA rock and metal scene or
Oh,
something
okay.
like that. But yeah, he comes on. He goes, "Yeah, I'll never get that Ramones stuff. It's just terrible, just terrible."
I mean, the first Dokken 70
And
was
I'm
like
I'm like-
78 or 77.
I'm like,
I
man,
think.
the first Dokken record's terrible. Like the one there's one before Breaking the Chains, and it is atrocious.
I haven't heard that one.
It's got like a picture of them on the cover.
I think
And
that's
it's
one
just
that came
self-titled.
out later, but the recording was earlier.
I
They
believe-
sent their demo around, and then some like French label bootlegged it, like
Yeah.
after they became popular, which has happened to more than one band. But I actually like Tooth and Nail,
Tooth and Nail's great.
and what's the one before that? Breaking the Chains, right?
Breaking the Chains, and then the one after it is
The one before Dream Warriors, right?
yeah. And I like that record actually too. The one anyway. Don Dokken.
Lock and Key,
I
Under
like
Lock
it.
and Key.
Under Lock and Key.
That one's okay. I really like Tooth and Nail though, and Breaking the Chains, even though it is questionable at some point. And I love Twisted Sister, which I should have worn my Twisted Sister vest. Twisted Sister are the best. What's the catalog number on this thing?
Catalog is the same as the original pressing. This is from 2010. It's the 1871.
1871. Yeah, I was just
Yeah.
looking at that today before I came over. I was like, I pulled some of them out.
Yeah. So the thing about this record is that this is the 2010 reissue,
Uh-huh.
which I guess was a Rhino reissue,
Right. Yeah.
but it doesn't say anything about Rhino anywhere on it.
A lot of the Rhino reissues don't, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It depends. Like like you were asking me about that freedom of choice one that I was doing with Brendan.
Yeah.
And that one had it on it. I think it had
Yeah.
a sticker on it.
Some
This
of them
one
do,
does
some
not.
of them don't. But I mean, I've definitely noticed that some of the Rhino reissues do not have Rhino on the record.
Yeah.
At least not on the sleeve.
Right. Nowhere like noticeable on the.
And
on
they
the
do good
jacket, right?
stuff. They do good stuff for sure.
Do you like appreciate the quality of the vinyl as well that they reissue? Typically.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I do have some of it. Like I have the Voidoids Blank Generation thing. Sounds great.
Oh, okay.
What was
Yeah.
I was actually gonna say before the Eddie Hazel Games Dames and the first Eddie Hazel solo.
Oh, I don't know it.
It's great.
Really?
Oh, it's amazing. So
It's like really guitar driven kind of.
yeah, it's like funky.
That's
guitar
the stuff I
driven.
like. I like guitar
But,
driven. I was originally a guitar player. I played
that
drums
was-
in this band, but
Really?
I'm
Yeah.
You
pretty
play
sure.
drums for Drop Dead too, right?
yeah. I originally played bass in Drop Dead before we like really formed as a band, but I switched to drums because I never played drums before. We couldn't find a drummer.
Yeah.
The drummer is the hardest thing to find in any band, pretty much.
Yeah, always a good drummer too. Yeah.
That's why Brian can act like as big of an asshole as he wants.
That's exactly why.
Yeah,
Because
he doesn't get away with it.
So what are you gonna do? Kick me out? Who are you gonna get to replace me, motherfucker?
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Beat
I am not an asshole at practice. I am so egalitarian at practice about like stuff. I bust everybody's balls. Everybody is equal fodder, and I'm equal fodder for them. So whatever.
We were pretty fair about that.
Well, that's good. I mean, it's always good to have nice kind of good standing relationship with everybody in the band when you're going to be in a band together, right?
So the first press of this album, first press with the green label.
In UK, you mean, or
U.S.
US, yeah.
I could bring up something else here because I couldn't get to it because the boxes were blocked in because I was cleaning a closet today. But the 7-inch that has Evil Woman on it, which was on the UK Vertigo pressing of the first Black Sabbath.
Mm-hmm.
I have the 45 of that. The first pressing was on Fontana Records. The second pressing was on Vertigo. I have the Vertigo pressing, but I couldn't get to it, which I thought that would be an excellent addition to our show here, but I couldn't get to it just because it would have like all the songs that are on the US and the UK version.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't realize that they had different tracks on it.
They do. Yeah, The Warning is not, which is a cover of Ainsley Dunsbar's Retaliation.
Mm-hmm.
That is on the U.S. version, is not on the UK version. But Evil Woman is, which is a cover of Crow from
Mm-hmm.
Minnesota.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I heard about that. Actually, was trying to do some research about this, and I listened to a very, very small snippet of that song.
The original or the
Crow? Yeah, the
Yeah,
Crow
yeah.
version of that song.
I have that LP. I found it somewhere.
Oh, cool.
Is it the one with the motorcycles? Or is that just a very best of, like a best of? There's one where they're like
I
riding
can't
through like an
remember.
alley on like choppers.
That doesn't sound familiar.
No.
But I have
Yeah,
that
I'll take a
one,
look at that.
the one that has Evil Woman. Yeah, I mean that's pretty good reproduction. This I think was a little bit closer to the corner
Mm-hmm.
on the original things. But the original version of this was on Warner and 7 Arts.
Right. Yeah, 7 Arts. I remember.
Right,
seeing that.
and I don't have that, and I want it, but oh God, it goes for so much when I see it now.
Yeah. No, I can imagine.
It's probably only like first 50 to 100,000 were with that label, with the 7 Arts label.
Yeah. How do
That's
you
what I
figure
want.
out information about like how many copies are pressed per pressing? Like,
I've just read it somewhere at that
Oh,
point
okay.
for that kind of stuff. I heard the exact number 60,000 for that first Kiss LP that I was talking about earlier. And I don't know where that number came from. I just read it online somewhere. Mm-hmm.
Blends right in.
yeah, I have a bad feeling we're just going to hear that static throughout the whole thing.
Whatever. Everybody knows this record, right?
Yeah, but the vinyl sounds good for
Yeah.
now, from what I can tell. So any of that clicking or hissing or something, obviously that's this shitty connection on my interface, which...
Yeah.
Oh.
I have to say it's nice to hear it through headphones.
Yeah, you don't do that too
I
often?
generally don't.
I'm just going to turn it down a hair. Just going to turn it down a hair just because I can't hear you guys through the microphone too well.
All right.
Oh,
Oh shit, Shawn.
What?
You're right on the table.
you knocked the table a little bit.
Oh, Jesus.
Do you have that problem with your turntables as far as like being like any kind of movement makes it skip?
Yeah,
Not in my new apartment.
You know what they're called? Cats.
Oh,
His
yeah.
cat, yeah.
Oh,
I remember being over at his house, and his cat was like, what were we listening to? Like The Move or something, like pre-ELO. Like,
Well, he attacked. He literally. I had to put a cover on that.
Because he'll jump on top of the record player.
Because he could see it and he would.
Yeah, he'd be trying to chase the record as it's spinning around.
Oh yeah.
But he's figured it out now. He can see through the edges.
Oh, really?
He like.
Wow, that's pretty crispy.
I know, man. It's
We're
fucking.
cooking bacon over here while we're listening to Black Sabbath.
At least I know it's not the record. It's the fucking goddamn interface, but.
So I banged the table because I needed a beer.
I'm hitting the table a little bit with my whiskey glass. See?
Yeah, it's happened a lot less than I imagined it would. You know, so I'm actually doing pretty good. So can't
It's
complain.
fine. What an opening statement for an LP, though.
Yeah. Well, and because it was weird too, because so they originally started as a band Earth, right? Or at least like
Polka Tulk, or what was it? Polka Tulk Blues Band was the name before Earth.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
When they had like a
was that
saxophone player and a keyboard player or some shit like that.
Was that still the 4 original members?
Yeah, plus 2 other guys.
Right.
And then they like fake broke up so they could get rid of the 2 other guys.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't know if they played as Polka Tulk with just the 4 Black Sabbath guys, but then yeah, Earth until August '69.
Huh. It's just gonna be a piece of shit. This is just gonna fuck with me all night now. It's better than the power going out though, so I guess I can't really complain.
Isn't there on those demos? Isn't one of the tracks? Isn't there saxophone on one of those songs?
On this album?
No, on the demos.
This harmonica.
Oh,
I
is
don't
it
remember.
harmonica?
I don't
There's
remember there
one of
ever
the
being
songs
saxophone.
one of the songs that never made it on the album. Maybe
When I Come Down or something.
maybe. I haven't listened in a long time, but I thought maybe there was saxophone in one of those songs. It's an oddball song.
Yeah.
It doesn't match. I think it's really blues based. Like it's
There
more
are
like
a few
blues
demos
jam.
like that, and right now, since I've had a few bourbons, I remember When I Come Down.
That might have been it.
What was the other demo?
Demo.
Yeah, look
for-
it up.
Black Sabbath's like demo.
Earth,
demos.
Black
Earth.
Sabbath, Break Off. Just like 6 months before, which apparently 6 months back then was a lot more than what it is now.
Yeah.
Because all these bands put out like 2 albums a year.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Like
them especially,
Paranoid
yeah.
came out like October '70,
Right.
and this came out February.
Right. Yeah, like months apart. It's crazy.
Yeah,
Well, so it took them 8 hours to record this record.
for the basic tracks, yeah, and then all the mixing and whatever.
Sure,
yeah.
sure, yeah. But to go into the studio for 8 hours and bang out this record.
They apparently were doing, playing 4 hours a night in clubs or whatever, and plus doing covers and stuff like that,
Right.
and just spreading their like originals out across just playing like 8-12 hours.
The Rebel.
Rebel.
When I came down in the Rebel.
When I Came Down, that's a song I mentioned, and The
Okay.
Rebel was another demo track that's like, it's either Earth or Black Sabbath. It's kind of in that era. This right here has the psychedelic touch that would be expected of the age,
Oh yeah.
but it's still blues rock.
It's still heavy.
It's still fucking heavy as balls.
It's like I think it's moments of their songs that I feel like got them that claim to originate heavy metal.
Right.
Like it's moments like this.
Absolutely,
in this song.
yeah. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, oh yeah, that's kind of metalish, yeah, for sure. I can see how that would have influenced other people to go on to make.
And like especially like the end here where it's just like the accents.
Yeah.
I can't really think of any.
Oh, I clipped out. That's all. Just clipped.
That.
Right.
That staccato part at the end.
Mm-hmm. But then the wizard walks in.
Yeah.
And then this is so just like grooved, like bluesy.
There's so much funk and groove in like a lot of these records from back then. The
Yeah.
like boogie rock. And I'm making
Right. And I think that's
quotes
why
with
I'm
my
not-
fingers here. Boogie rock.
I think that's why I'm not crazy about like kind of new metal, because like I don't hear a lot of the groove anymore. It's mostly all just like the chugging along,
Yeah.
and the kind of maybe like fast riffage, maybe. I don't even know how to describe it too well, but like you don't hear something like this. There's not that juxtaposition between songs even where there's one song that's like, okay, this is our like bluesy jam.
Mm-hmm.
What's funny though is I think there's an actual like metal genre called groove metal, isn't there?
Really?
It's like a sub.
There probably
it's like
is.
new-
I
it's
don't
like-
know. I'm too old, but
I think
There's
there
so
is.
many, right?
Yeah.
yeah, slams. Like
There's like that whole slam metal thing. That's
we
huge.
played with one of the originators
huge.
of that. Who is that? Incantation or somebody? Are they one of the bands? No, Suffocation.
Really
Not us. Like
They're
Drop Dead
considered-
did.
part of that.
We played with them in Texas
Suffocation?
at that the guy from Pantera, Phil Anselmo. He had this like festival in San Antonio, but like some other guys booked it, but they had kind of like he loves Drop Dead apparently, the dude from Pantera,
Oh,
which
yeah?
is super weird.
That's awesome.
And then there's like COC played, Negative Approach played, Poison Idea. It was like a pretty good lineup.
That's a great
Yeah.
one.
And then Suffocation like ended the night, or whatever, which was weird. Like I never really heard it before. It was strange, like this kind of slow
I could
death
see
metal.
where
Hmm.
there might be an influence on that, but I don't think they're like of that genre. Like they were just like an early, like heavy death metal band, like technical death metal.
Sean, can you talk into your microphone?
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Just because.
Hello, talking to your
I
microphone.
also mumble. So
I think
That's all right.
I think Suffocation is considered part of that slam genre. I'm not 100% sure.
Mm.
It's not. Were they from like Long Island or something?
yeah, they're New York.
I mean, they probably. I mean, the roots of that is from CBGBs, I would think, from like the hardcore scene, the CBGBs, where that kind of mosh metal,
Mm.
where they kind of melded kind of metallic riffs and slow hardcore, plodding hardcore kind of. I don't know.
Mm.
It's not something I'm an expert on, but
Yeah, me neither, man. You know, I really don't know too much about it.
yeah.
All the genres, all the like subgenres for any category of music is just fucking. It's a little much.
I just know I went to see so many bands back in the 80s that like now there's like separate scenes for.
Yeah.
You know, like I'd go see the Butthole Surfers and then the Ramones and then Soul Asylum and then like whatever number of hardcore, you know, Circle Jerks and whatever hardcore bands were happening then, and then a little getting into the 90s. It was still like Buzz Oven or I Hate God. They were still considered underground bands and kind of got lumped into like hardcore gigs a lot, or punk gigs.
Absolutely.
Those
Those bands, I Hate God and Buzz Oven and stuff, they used to play those Studio 150.
we played with them at
Studio
158.
158 shows. It was a little
Yeah,
hardcore venue.
I actually booked a show with us in I Hate God, and Deformed Conscience and Devoid of Faith were all like, you know, at least semi-legendary like hardcore bands now, and then I Hate God are there. What are they, sludge metal gods or whatever
Yeah.
now? Nobody was there. Because there was like a festival earlier in the weekend where like, you know, on Friday and Saturday, like 15 bands played a night, and so nobody showed up to the Sunday show. And like the guys who made I Hate God, well, Mike Williams mainly was pissed off that nobody showed up, but it was like,
Right.
there were nobody band. Oh, and 13 played from New York City.
Huh.
They were like another early sludge metal kind of band, all girl
Yeah.
band. They were great. They were great.
I remember, yeah, I remember them.
Yeah, and Grief, like all this sludge metal stuff that now I guess is like kind of legendary. That like led to Black Sabbath led to those eventually,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Getting back to Black Sabbath.
Well, I was gonna say, you know, speaking of like influence, there's like that whole thing that I guess like Witchcraft probably spearheaded,
Mm.
like that the production values of this
Right, replicating 70s
Graveyard,
sound.
like it's so huge now. Like, but yeah,
Yeah.
like going in the studio using like tape, old 70s tube amps, like keeping everything to
Right.
this what we're listening to.
Yeah.
Which I
That's
approve
become
of.
its own. That's become its own genre too.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I can see that too. I mean, like, I think that was the biggest thing about this band was that, you know, there was so many elements that were going in this direction that was very bleak and dark. You know, the name Black Sabbath,
Yeah.
the imagery on the cover, this like, you know, basically nameless woman, very creepy, kind of like, you know, ghoulish, ghostly, in this like what it seems to be like some kind of like
A
cemetery
grove of
or
trees
Yeah.
behind like kind of a house. It might be abandoned. It might
Right.
be just like a hermit lives in it. Who fucking knows?
right.
It's
And,
still there because I occasionally see people getting their pictures taken in front of it.
Oh really?
Mm,
It's still standing.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
really? Wow.
Yeah, every once in a while I'll see like in my Instagram feed like someone will go where that is
Wow.
and like have their picture taken in front of it.
Oh, that's cool.
I feel like it's like in the Netherlands or something.
Hmm.
Where?
Maybe the Netherlands or
Really?
or maybe, I don't know. I'll do my.
I would
I'll
think
do
it
some
was
full
like in the
research.
Midlands in
Yeah.
UK or something like that. Who knows? I mean, there's definitely a lot of old stuff in the UK still.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I bet. That's why I was assuming it was taken too, but
That's one thing I don't know about. Now Sean's looking on.
Yeah, I'm-
He's googling it now. I don't know the history of the cover.
yeah, no, I don't either. All I heard was that Geezer Butler, who is the primary lyricist,
Yes. Yes.
wrote the lyrics to Black Sabbath, the whole, the I see some dark figure, coming
Yeah, yeah.
towards me,
Yeah.
and this was kind of like the idea to kind of grasp that concept, kind of put them together.
Right.
Um,
To make it a woman too.
a woman, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I guess a witch is more, and witchcraft in general is associated with women more than
Yeah.
men. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's definitely, I mean, the wordage in the lyrics suggests it's just something dark and like,
Right.
menacing.
Right.
I
I always pictured it as a, some kind of
it's like a devil or something, right? Like,
yeah.
And then
something
devil
demonic
you always associate
with
a male. figure,
yeah.
Right. Right.
So it is England.
Oh, it's
Aha!
Yeah.
Where is it from?
According to Wikipedia, it's the Maple Durham Watermill, situated on the River Thames in Oxfordshire, England.
Oxfordshire. Hmm.
And
Is that where the hobbits are?
it says the name of the woman pictured on the front cover is forgotten, though guitarist Iommi says that she once showed up backstage at a Black Sabbath show and introduced herself.
All creepy as hell, just like walks in, just
Not
like
much
not
is,
saying anything. Just,
it's funny though, it
Nuancey.
says not much is known about the eerie woman used in the photo other than she was a model/actress hired for the day and her name was Louise.
She could look like anything based on the blurriness of that photo.
yeah. I kind of think she looks pretty. I kind of want to think that she's pretty.
You can't tell.
No, you can't.
You
tell.
absolutely can't
and
tell.
the color tone of it.
It's
like
very
almost sepia
manicured
look
these
of it.
days.
It's
Oh,
just like,
yeah.
so she looks green. She kind of looks like the fucking Wicked Witch of the West. Oh,
They got a landscaper since.
As
Cool, man.
lovely as an older man, I can appreciate such scenes.
Yeah, but they didn't
Get
let it
off
get us
my lawn,
overgrown
witch.
Here,
Mm.
It's much cleaner now. Definitely not as dreary looking. If you went for this there now, it would
He's
not.
a shining moment here at the beginning here. Still plays it to this day in concert.
Yeah.
If they ever play another concert.
Supposedly they're not, right?
No more tours, but they might do one-off shows. That's what they've said.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's-
makes sense.
That's weird. I mean, if you're saying like you're not going to gig anymore, okay. Well, that,
What did
that's,
they say? We'd have to find the press release, say what they exactly said, right?
Right. Well, because
If they played here and I got to see them again, I'd be happy. But if they play in England and they play again, I'm like, fuck.
I mean, what the speaking of Kiss, I think they're on their seventh final tour.
They say this is the last tour.
Seventh,
Yeah.
supposedly.
seventh leg or
Seventh
seventh announcement.
Yeah.
final
Different final tour.
I don't
Yeah.
know, man.
I mean, Black Sabbath's only done it what, twice now? 3 times? I don't know.
Only once that I can really
Really?
recall. I mean,
I thought they did
when they
one like.
reunited in '98 for that reunion thing.
That's what I was thinking of, and then this.
I don't
end
know
one.
if they really said that was their last tour.
It
Yeah.
was just a reunion.
Yeah.
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 Wasn't you went to go see them when they came around here recently? Kind of recently. I mean, it was like a couple years ago.
That was
maybe.
Yeah.
that was the end one.
At the
Fuck, Mohegan.
Mohegan thing. Well, I went to see him at the other place.
But Bill Ward wasn't with them.
Right.
Was he?
It was Tommy whatever from like the Aussie band. He played with both times. I saw him on the 13 tour.
Oh, okay.
I saw him both times.
That's where you
Once
saw
at
the
the
13
casino, and I saw him up at Great Woods. What is Great Woods called now?
The Tweeter Center? Xfinity Center.
Oh, Tweeters going
Xfinity
even
Center or
further back.
Tweeter Center, yeah, something.
I don't know, man.
New England.
I've never even been
It's
to a
next.
show there.
It's next to the Almax.
The last time I was at that same Great Woods tweeter thing was to see Anthrax, Megadeth, and Slayer, and the opening band was Alice in Chains, like 1990, 91.
Wow.
That was the last time I'd been there before that.
Wow.
And Alice in Chains hadn't like done anything yet. I don't know if they had even released a major label LP at that point. I don't even know.
Wow.
I hated them. I didn't like them at all. But
I've never really cared for him
I
much.
think
no,
in one of those documentaries they were talking about that
really,
in one of the thrash ones, and they were saying
Oh.
Alice in Chains opened for them,
they did.
and they got booed, and
I thought they sucked. They're not my thing. I still don't like them. Like I like Stone Temple Pilots more than Alice in Chains, and I'm gonna say I don't know why. I couldn't even tell you why, because I don't think either band is that great. This is great. 2 solos going at once.
Yeah. But he only synced up right there. Before it was just like kind of separate notes.
I don't know if that was intentional or if like somebody walked in the studio and they were A-Bing solos. They were like,
Right.
why don't you just have both? Like we did on our last record, by the way, our debut LP.
Yeah?
Yeah, we did. We had the guitar player play the solo twice. I was like, dude, just play them twice.
Yeah.
Like have them in different channels.
Well, that's like
It sounds great.
That can be a good technique,
Yeah.
depending. I heard some guys rip this apart because of that.
Really?
I found this podcast.
they must have been like Berkeley kids or something.
You know, it was making me mad, and
Yeah.
not because like what they were saying necessarily, like
Oh, that was my deal.
yeah,
Sorry.
No, I found this podcast that was, I think it was called Your Favorite Band Sucks. So
Okay.
basically, I didn't get into all of it, but I focused on this because I wanted to hear what they were saying about this record.
Mm-hmm.
And it was starting to make me mad because I was just like, okay, wait, so you assholes are just going to rip apart every band, because I saw some of the track listing. I was just like, okay, you rip apart the Beatles, you're ripping apart Black Sabbath, you're ripping apart like all these other bands.
If
that are,
everything's fair game, I think that's fair.
I
As
think
long as they don't do a
everything's-
thing where they go like, okay, this record's perfect, we can't rip it apart.
Right. Well, but I mean, you got to think.
I know what
something's
you're
good.
saying. Just because I like this album doesn't mean somebody can not have a problem with it or whatever.
Yeah, no, and I'm very objective to it. I can listen to this, I can hear what they were saying. I was just like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Like the whole thing about that doubling the solos.
I love that.
It's a great effect.
Yeah.
But for them, they were like, oh yeah, he just did that because he's a hack guitarist, and it didn't even work well because he wasn't even like doubling up on the solos. He just like, they just took 2 separate solos and just like, you know, brought in the levels here and there and pan left and right, which I'm just like, that can be a technique.
That's
That
a
can be
very
good.
60s, 70s, like when
Yeah.
stereo was new. I mean,
Right.
when did stereo come into like mainstream? Like 66, 67?
I don't even know, man.
Something like that.
Right.
So you hear all these crazy stereo effects
Right.
on like these albums until like about 70 or whatever. It's like they're just like panning back and forth crazily. Like
Right.
it's kind of funny to listen to now.
Yeah. What was I listening to?
But I like the idea of having like 2 different solos that like they just come together here and there every now and then.
Yeah.
I love that idea.
But you can hear both of them, and so you can kind of like hear them kind of meld together
Yeah.
in parts.
It's
Yeah.
it's like a jazz
'Cause, like,
tool almost.
It is almost like a jazz thing, yeah.
Where you got like 2.
You gotta flip this motherfucker over now.
Yeah, man.
I mean, that's the magic of some of the jazz stuff. Is like
Yeah.
group of people just playing all, you know, more like free jazz stuff and stuff like that,
Yeah.
where like things just meet on these like magical moments that aren't planned, and like
I feel that magic sometimes, even myself playing, even though I'm obviously not a world-class improviser or whatever, like on guitar or drums or whatever, or just in bands I'm in. It's just that stuff is magical when you feel it. Like you're like,
For
wow,
sure.
that fucking feels so good.
Yeah.
we used to.
And hopefully other people feel it too. I
Yeah.
mean, I feel it in other bands, and I hope they feel it in us when we do it in that one fucking song.
Dude, Vincent Disruptum used to have those moments
Really?
when we would, my old band with Dan,
Yeah.
and we would, like the early stuff, we would just jam.
Yeah.
I mean, some
Oh,
people
yeah.
loved it, some people hated it, and we would just jam. But sometimes it was like 5 people just locked in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes it was just 5 people really drunk and stoned, just, you know, playing the same 2 notes
This
for
is the
a half
whole-
hour. But
This
Right.
is like the whole thing about like the divide between 70s rock, where it became just masturbatory, and like the need for punk rock to come in and simplify everything, just level things out to like where it was in the 50s, kind of where It was just like real driving rock and roll. But then you come back to some of that 70s stuff where it was kind of wanky or whatever, and it's like, this is really good.
Yeah.
You know, even though at the time, like, you know, you might have been, I'm sick of this kind of stuff. I don't know. There's a balance in life between, like being a virtuoso and just being a Neanderthal playing music. You know?
But being a Neanderthal can be good.
Absolutely.
The,
God, obviously.
God,
Our
some-
fucking band. Are you kidding me?
I think...
or Vincibus Eruptum. I mean, we were just, that stuff we did.
Who
was
farted? Who
wonderful.
farted?
Man,
That-
it was fun.
Absolutely.
But us too, even our band. I mean, I'm the most untrained guitarist there's ever been.
I'm
That's
obviously
fine.
like the best guitar player in our band, I think.
Yeah, I don't know if you know that.
Actually, I'm George. John is a really good guitar player too, but his sense of tempo to me, sorry John, is fucking wacky sometimes. I don't
Yeah.
understand his sense of timing sometimes. It's like absolutely weird.
Well,
He's
gotta
got good
follow
fingers.
you,
He's
right?
got good
I mean, you're the
fingers,
beat.
but he doesn't.
He doesn't. That's the thing. He gets weird sometimes. He writes these, like, I remember this riff that we wrote, and I broke it down, and I was like, did you mean to write this in 10/8 time? And he was like, I don't even know what that is. I was like,
I'm sorry, I'm on board with him. I don't understand.
yeah. I mean,
I don't know.
I barely understand, like, theory stuff. It's just like in recent years, I've broken stuff down, and then gone back, and I was like, oh, all right. Just in guitar stuff, too. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, that's a 7th. Oh, that's the 4th. That's a 5th. That's the 3rd. That's, you know, whatever. The diminished scale that is all those devil intervals,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
Diabolus and Musica as Slayer.
So did you get formal training?
No.
You just figured this out eventually?
You know, I was a guitar player and I read Guitar Player magazine and I used to read those articles about stuff and I picked up about, 1% of it or whatever. And then as I got older, I would go back and kind of pick apart riffs I wrote or whatever. And then it was like, oh, like it just clicked. And then because I was kind of forced to play drums in all the bands I'm in, except for, a couple where I forced the issue and I got to play guitar or write stuff on guitar.
Yeah.
I mean, I continued playing at home all the time on guitar. You can't really play drums at home unless you have your own house, which I've never had. So I just kind of figured out this kind of theory stuff
Oh.
after a while. And how, like, when you play this as a fourth, the fourth note also could be the root note, and you just different ways of interpreting the notes or whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, that's crazy. Yeah, because I
and
don't
then listening,
understand
it just like when I started listening to jazz when I was like older, older meaning almost 20 years ago now, because when I reached 30 or whatever, and I started not just listening to hardcore punk and.
That's about when I started getting into jazz too.
I think that's where
your
every
own
magic
is.
number. Yeah.
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 It's like, oh, I'm 30. I gotta get the jazz.
And you
records
start
out
like
now.
eating beets and going, beets are pretty good.
Yeah. Hey, anyone get some lima beans too?
Yeah, dude, I love
Crazy.
mashed lima beans more than anything. Those are so fucking good. It's just a maturity thing. I don't know what happened.
Right.
Yeah, I probably didn't eat a beet before I was 30. Love them.
Yeah. Well, actually, I used to eat them when I was a kid, and
Yeah.
didn't really realize.
I never had beets then, but like I used to love artichokes when I was a kid, and like broccoli.
See, my mom.
I love it now, like even more, but because I liked it when I was a kid, it just carried over. I never stopped eating it, and Brussels sprouts and stuff like
Yeah.
that. That are supposed to be things kids don't like. And I think again, our music taste has just matured, and
Yeah, for sure.
So, yep. Speaking
I haven't got around on classical yet, though. I still.
Yeah. I dabble with classical. Like, I
Really?
listen to the radio station, like the classical radio station around here. And I really like listening to it in the car. And then all I ever, like, when I'm listening to it, what I do is I envision, can I play drums to this? Like, that
That's a
would
tough
be,
one.
that would be really fun. Like, when I get this shit set up and I can actually get my instrument set up, that's what I would like to do. I'd like
You're
to
a
be
drummer
able-
too?
No, I dabble with it. I'm not a
Okay.
good drummer.
Oh, okay.
But I like playing drums. I think that, I think it's very fun.
Uh-huh.
To just kind of play
Did
along
you
with
play,
records.
You played bass, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm a
that
bass
was
player.
your.
But I
am
have
too.
I have a kit and I like to play them. I like to bang on them. I
Yeah.
like to fucking play along with records and just like fucking just wail away. It's good exercise, you know. Just for
Yeah,
this
yeah.
game. Yeah. And so I was always thinking like, oh, if I could fucking like nail a fucking classical song, like if I could like play drums, like rock drums to a classical song, that'd be pretty cool. You know, and that's
Could,
I
like,
think it would be good
play like
practice.
a Wagner song and then do like Metallica kind of like
Yeah.
some Master of
I
Puppets
don't
song
know.
or something.
I still I like some classical guitar stuff, but
Mhm.
that's about it. Like I can't do the whole, even like a quartet, or especially not like a full orchestra. And I don't like, for jazz, I don't like big band stuff at all. I
Mhm.
like hot jazz, like the Louis Armstrong stuff. I like ragtime stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Up until like the modal jazz and bebop stuff and into the free jazz. And then I kind of fall off at later fusion stuff.
There's a steep fall off.
Early fusion stuff is kind of awesome, and then it just goes "Boo!" like
It's a dive.
it's a real fucking dive.
Yeah.
But like the
I'm in
jazz
some
stuff,
place.
like the big band stuff, like the you know, especially stuff with vocals, like Sinatra, kind of like the vocal jazz stuff.
Mhm.
Even though I love female vocals more than anything when it comes to you know, music mostly. Even like Ella Fitzgerald and stuff, I can barely tolerate that stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. I don't know why exactly. And who's the other one? Billie Holiday,
Yeah. Yeah.
who is, you know, widely regarded as one of the best,
Right.
you know, jazz singers, black jazz blues singers or whatever.
I gotta say, I kind of feel the same. Like,
Yeah.
I know them, I know some of their material, and like I do like some of the songs, but as far as like putting a full length record of it on and like, you know, listening to it front to back, I don't know if I would want to do that.
Yeah.
I just spun the Max Roach We Insist Now, or
I don't know that one. I
it's,
think you have more jazz than I
it's
do.
with,
I only have like maybe 200 jazz
his
records.
wife Abby Lincoln
Abby Lincoln, yeah, I know
does
her.
so it's him and her,
Yeah, yeah.
and she does the what's the Yoko Ono thing, the vocalization, the Primal Scream
Uh-huh.
stuff, and she does these things with her voice that are almost like of a woodwind instrument. She
Uh-huh.
does these like screams, but it like does these weird fluctuations. I don't know how to even describe it,
Yeah.
but
Huh.
that's a cool record. And,
Really?
Yeah,
I do like that, some of like that Linda Sharrock stuff.
that is good.
Right.
But just the Abby Lincoln thing, she's actually, she falls in that same category as
Yeah.
Billie Holiday, and, but she took it.
I
That's
can't,
interesting. What was that again? Tell me that so I can look it up.
Max Roach, the jazz drummer.
Okay.
It's called We Insist, and it was like one of like a lot of the probably when like the Black Power stuff was starting to like happen, and I think it was like late '60s. It was
Okay.
I know there's some Abby Lincoln vocal songs that I can't remember who it is now. It wasn't Max Roach, but it was somebody else. It was good.
it's
But a
probably
lot of
around
vocal
the same
jazz
time.
I can't hang with, where it's the vocals are too much the focus and it's too traditional jazz, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I can see that. I'll start side two now. I wanted to say some of the, because you were talking about the soloing. Do you like Bruce Springsteen at all?
I think Bruce Springsteen, the covers of his music are usually better than his versions of the song. Although I heard a live version of Because the Night, where he's playing like guitar on it. That is good. That is better than the Patti Smith version, which is still good. But that's the only Bruce Springsteen I've ever heard that I like better than like a cover version of one of his songs.
Okay.
So it's funny you said it. So two things.
Mhm.
So Springsteen, I think you have to hit 40 to appreciate.
I'm not 40 yet.
I'm 50 and I still don't like him.
So me, I was never. I only liked Bruce Springsteen, Nebraska, which
Okay.
is the nothing like any of his other records.
Right. And I think that most people make that association early.
So that was
We're
my
just
like.
it's oh, Bruce Springsteen's okay because I
that's-
have Nebraska.
Nebraska's. Oh, I can take this.
Yeah.
But his other stuff has grown on me. But the other thing that grew on me was, they did this. It was like a PBS concert all in black and white, and it was when like Roy Orbison was still
Oh,
alive.
yeah. Tom Petty
Tom
was on
Petty.
there. Yep.
And Bruce Springsteen comes on and plays guitar, and I was like, "Are you kidding me? He's amazing!" And that it was like that's what like the trigger for me to check out more Bruce Springsteen, because I didn't realize like what an absolute
Like, how deep do you go with?
amazing guitarist he is.
Yeah.
How deep do you go with him now?
I have most of his stuff
Really? Jeez.
on vinyl. Yeah.
I might be heading that way. I don't know.
I have.
Yeah.
But
I actually bought a big chunk of them off Rob. Someone had clearly sold their collection,
yeah.
and they were all like $3. I got like 5.
Born
of them.
to Run.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so Born to Run, right? So that
Yeah.
was probably one of the.
I
biggest
actually
producers.
like that song.
That's a great song.
It's a good
Sure.
song.
But so that whole album is hailed as one of the most, probably essential.
My
records.
uncle, who turned me on to punk rock, he was super into Springsteen.
Okay.
That's like one of his one
Yeah.
of his records for sure.
So
His
Go ahead.
Desert Island.
I bought
records.
a reissue of Born to Run, some like deluxe CD box set thing that came with a DVD of the making of, which was cool. I
Yeah.
love makings of anything.
Me too.
Like, if I can see a fucking making of any record, I'll fucking watch it. But so this came with it, and I watched it, and they did the same thing. The sax solo for, I can't remember the name of the song. I think it was Jungle Land on that record. It's a fucking long ballad-esque fucking sax solo. But the way he did it was that he mixed it. He had Clarence Thomas is his name?
Yeah. Mhm.
He had him
Clemens?
do
Clemens.
Sorry.
Clarence Clemens, I think. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
Clarence Thomas. Yeah, you're right.
So
Who's Clarence? Oh, Clarence Thomas is the guy in the Supreme Court who molested Anita Hill. Remember that?
Oh, yeah, my mistake. Sorry
Yeah,
about
definitely
that guy.
not that guy.
No, not that guy.
Bruce Springsteen, the sax player, so he had him do multiple tracks, multiple solos during this part in the song, and in the mixing, he fucking mixed it, like he brought up and down levels as the song is playing, and committed that to tape. So that solo, the way that if you hear it on the record, can never be recreated
Right.
because he was just fiddling with the knobs and taking all the different tracks of all the solos
Right.
and just panning them in and pulling them out, and that's how
That's
it
so
came
cool.
out.
So I think I told you they just going through Netflix, Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime.
They have all the British series classic albums.
Oh yeah,
They have not all of them, but they have a lot of them. On
I
there.
just looked at it recently.
And they do that stuff where they break down. They do I just watched Machine Head.
Yeah, they sit
Deep
down
Purple,
with the
and
records at the table.
I haven't
That's the
seen that
thing,
one.
and
I
they
gotta
go
watch
through
that
the
one.
console and they
Yeah, the original master
They'll,
tapes.
like,
They isolate the tracks. They were
Yeah.
like, listen to what he was doing here. Watch this.
they'll like play stuff that they didn't put on the record.
Yeah,
Like, oh,
yeah.
here's this like triangle part that we left out. Or the didgeridoo or
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the Wishbone Ash
I wish
artist
they-
one. Did you watch that
I
yet?
haven't.
But he isolates the bass. He was like, "Oh, listen to that tone. What the fuck is that?" Like, it's funny. It sounds great, but he's like playing another guitar practically, because it's like he's playing this high solo part that's just like a harmony that's over the top of everything. Not a harmony, a melody that's over the top of everything else. And it's great. It's great, but it's like if you just isolate it, it's like, what kind of fucking bass tone is that? It makes no sense.
Yeah, right. But over everything else.
Over everything,
it sounds
it's
okay.
amazing.
It's probably
That is
like really mid-rangey or something, and it just like cuts through the
Yeah.
mix or something.
yeah. It's super
not-
like for a bass, it's super high.
that
But
makes
yeah, it's
total
super
sense.
mid-tone or whatever.
They did a cool thing with that with the Lou Reed one.
Oh yeah, Transformer was it?
Yeah, and they do the opening bass line to
Oh yeah, it's doubled up, right?
Wow,
so
doubled
he was
up.
doing the
Yeah.
upright.
He's playing
at the
two-
low end.
I love that
Electric
like
bass doing the high.
he also did that in what is it, Dave Essex, Rock and Roll. Hey kid, rock
Oh,
and
yeah.
roll. He does like 2 bass lines on that too.
Yeah.
So he gets paid double scale.
Oh my
He did the same thing on the Lou Reed record. He put 2 bass lines so he could get paid double.
So it's not
That's
just a
so
creative little. Thing
It is and it isn't, I suppose.
because
It's
that
creative for his
bassist
pocket, too.
he was just like a session guy.
Yeah, he's a session guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But yeah, that stuff's so cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even when they in the Deep Purple when they talk to Richie Blackmore, and he says everybody plays "Smoke on the Water" wrong.
Right.
Everyone. I mean, it's like he does like a picking thing where it's like.
Oh, he's like playing the octaves, like just kind of playing all
Yeah,
three
he's
or
like,
four strings at once.
He's like everyone just does the like.
Yeah, the fourths, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. All right, let's get inside too.
Let's do this shit.
What do you think of the quality, by the way, so far? I mean, because you guys own original copies of this record.
It's good.
Like I said, it sounds. I mean, it's probably a bad judge for me because I'm hearing it through headphones, which I'm
And
not
with
used
the
to.
fucking staticky thing too.
I'm not even noticing the static.
Not
really.
too much. It shows up here and there, it seems.
It's hard to keep a good song down, as I like to say. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Play it loud enough, just cuts through everything.
Absolutely. Play loud or die.
There you go.
So Brian, as a drummer,
Yes.
I've heard people say that Bill Ward overfills.
Hmm.
No, have you heard such a thing?
I don't agree.
I think it's
I
like
don't
a different
either, but
style
like
of playing.
I have heard that like he kind of people have complained that he overdoes it, and I don't think so.
What
I
is
don't-
the guy that was filling in for him? What does he say? Because he has
Oh,
to
I don't
recreate
know.
it, right?
He's-
So,
Oh, he
the-
hasn't been recreating it.
No,
either.
he's
no.
more of a modern
No.
drummer. He's
Yeah, he's
definitely
a
a more
modern
modern
drummer.
drummer.
so he
Like
doesn't
like
do
when he's
these.
playing some stuff, I'm like, that's not right. That is not right.
That's sacrilege, isn't it?
I don't know.
He probably
Like, I'm gonna tell you, I couldn't play these parts.
Oh,
I absolutely couldn't play these parts.
He's a
straight up.
Bill Ward was a monster.
but he's
Yeah.
like a jazz player, right?
Yeah.
But
He's
he-
got a lot of like jazzy, weird timing going on with stuff.
But
Which
also
is why
hitting
other-
as hard as humanly possible.
Yeah.
Like while doing
Like
that.
Elvin Jones hard in a hard rock context.
Yeah.
Something like that. It's
Hmm.
like,
Yeah, there's certain players like that, like Ginger Baker's the same thing. He even says he's just like, I'm not a rock and roll drummer, I'm a jazz drummer. You know, so I play like these kind of like jazzy.
he definitely plays weird. He doesn't play as hard as Bill Ward, for
No.
sure.
No.
But he also plays this way, doesn't he? The
Oh, like the
Jazz
actual.
style?
Doesn't Ginger Baker play like underhand, like
I think he does.
snare hand? I think he does.
Well, yeah, almost all jazz drummers. This
Yeah.
stick is
But
like
Bill Ward
held
doesn't.
like.
He plays over. He doesn't. I guess is what I'm saying is.
I don't think he does. I think Bill Ward plays matched, which is like just like this, like Ringo Starr. Like he was like kind of the first rock drummer to play with just so, like not like a what do you call that? Like a drum and fife style thing where you're playing on like a tilted drum. I mean that's why you're holding the thing with like oops, I just hit the mic.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Don't knock the table.
Yeah, this right here reminds me of like some bar band kind of break.
Everyone needs a break.
Yeah.
Everyone go refresh the drink. Isn't that like what the Stones used to do? Like when they had fucking Keith Richards or someone do like a massive solo, like the fucking guys would go out back, like do some bumps or whatever, and fucking fuck some groupie or
Something,
some
yeah.
shit. Come back on for that.
Why else would you take that time off, right? Like I remember seeing Twisted Sister, and they did like some stuff like that, and Dee Snider was just like running off stage. I'm convinced he was back there just like with an oxygen mask, because he's like, he had to be 55,
Oh,
and
this
he
is
was
Kind of recent.
2011, 2009, something
Kind of
like that.
recent, yeah.
He was running around like he was fucking 22 years old, you know?
Wow.
He was
He's one of
running
those
around
guys,
crazy.
though. He's one of those guys that like high energy, like David Lee Roth, like just fucking.
The whole band was
bounce
high
off the
energy.
walls. Oh, okay, so it was cocaine.
Dude, they were fucking great. No, he's straight edge. He's never done like, he doesn't drink, he doesn't do drugs.
Oh, yeah.
That's why he's saying oxygen. He's getting like an oxygen.
He's an
helmet.
oxygen thing just on his mouth, over his 55-year-old mouth.
Did
They were fucking great.
Did you guys
man.
see the Chicago documentary? It's really long. It's like
I saw like half of it
where they
until the albums I liked tailed off.
exactly. But there's a point I think in the 70s where they had a phone booth as like a prop on the stage.
Yeah.
But it became like they kept it there because it was where they would all like do bumps. They'd all like
Really?
in one of the roadies,
I didn't get that far
and all of
into
the
it.
roadies would like set it up for him, and they'd literally just rotate and like go in this like
Nice.
phone booth on the stage and everyone is just coked out of their minds like. I actually
Oh, there's a Jews harp.
The Jews harp, yes.
This is what that it's an instrumentation like that would make people not credit this as a metal record.
Right.
Just because it has a fucking Jews harp. That's what I don't like about the whole thing about people like categorizing music, be like, oh no, that has horns in it, so it can't be metal. That has a Jews harp, that's
Right.
got whatever in it. So it's just like, oh yeah, the harmonica from the Wizard.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's got harmonica on it, can't be metal.
Blues.
It's like, you're fucking assholes. Like, why not?
I don't care if it's metal or not. It's fucking Sabbath, man.
Well, even if it wasn't Sabbath, if
Right.
another band incorporates, if you guys were to incorporate harmonica into one of your songs, is it not going to be metal?
no.
That'd be hard. I don't know.
Well, I was gonna
But
say
I know what you're saying, yeah.
like
Right.
I don't care if it's metal or not. It's fucking Sabbath.
It's just got to be good.
Yeah.
I mean, like Sabbath aside,
Yeah.
like, just thinking about music. Okay, can this have harmonic in it? Can this have mouth harp in it and still be a good rock song?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I was going to use the example of the first Jethro Tull or early Jethro Tull.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Jeffrey's song.
It's contemporary with this, and
Yeah.
and it's got flute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of flute,
It's all flute.
tons of flute.
It's got too much flute.
Like, but and then I was going to say like fast forward. I was talking about the revival stuff of this like Doomy Stony, so like Blood Ceremony.
Blood Ceremony
Blood
They
Ceremony's a
blew-
modern band. The girl sings
plays keyboards.
like an organ, like a
Yeah.
farfisa or
Yeah,
something,
yeah.
and plays flute.
And
But it's based off of this stuff.
I met her.
It's metal.
Yeah.
To me, it's metal. It's still metal, entirely.
Well, see,
I-
because you have enough influence and you would have enough appreciation of something like Black Sabbath,
Right.
and like the Stooges and garage rock in general,
And Jethro
blues
Tull,
rock
if you're
in
gonna go
general.
there.
Yeah, and so you can like listen to that and you'd be like, okay, this is metal as fuck because you're just rocking it. It's just a good hard rock song. It doesn't matter what instrumentation you have in it.
Yeah. We haven't even mentioned the MC5.
The MC5.
Jeez.
That goes without saying.
Exactly.
What
What
is
are
it?
they? They're
What
like
is it,
the
Miss
heaviest
X?
band ever. What?
Miss X. Is that like what is the name of that song? The one it's basically a gospel song on the second or third LP. Third LP.
Okay.
It's basically a gospel song, but it's still a hard rock song too.
Because they're doing it.
Yeah.
Because that's just the only way they knew how to do it. Anything,
Yeah.
for that matter, right? It's just
Yeah.
fucking going at it, just full blast.
Have you heard the what is it, 66 Breakout? That is like Motown plus MC5.
Right. That was the Detroit sound. I mean, that was
It
the
was
epitome
it
of
is so fucking good.
I picked up the LP of that not that long ago.
Yeah, I have the
I had the
LP of
CD
that.
forever. I finally grabbed it on vinyl.
Yeah. It is so good.
But anyway, yeah. I mean, that's like that defies all genres. It encompasses
They just
all.
did everything. It was like Motown, whatever hard rock was in 1966, 67. Black to Calm, which is like a free jazz song.
What were we gonna say about? You were gonna say something about Blood Ceremony.
Oh, Blood Ceremony. I saw them with Ghost, and they fucking blew Ghost out of the water.
Ghost.
What do
is-
you think about Ghost? I know they're huge. I know they're fucking huge.
I
thought
like
they
their
were-
first record. I
Exactly.
Which
And then
the
I
first
saw
record?
them live, and they were fucking terrible.
It had like a Latin name, I think, if
Okay.
I remember correctly.
Because I actually had one of their records recently, and like I knew that they were a popular band, so I was just like, oh shit, like I'll pick up Ghost, sure. Meloria? Is that how you pronounce that one?
I don't know.
That wouldn't be the one that I know.
Well, I put it on expecting it to be something more similar to this.
It was like pop music,
It
right?
was like fucking. I was just like,
Yeah.
people like this shit.
Dude, like
This
people,
sucks.
they were
I didn't even
comparing it to
finish
like
listening to it. I was just like, this is not what I expected.
the Scooby-Doo theme song is what like people were comparing like Ghost to by like the second LP. It's
Yeah.
just like crazy that people are like calling this metal.
But I'm like looking
It's
at the
just
jacket, like
insane.
I'm opening it up, I'm like pulling out the sleeve. It's the fucking a photo of the band in this like really black backdrop.
Yeah.
They're all fucking face painted, looking like skulls and shit,
Yep.
and like wearing the fucking like priest cloak stuff.
Yeah, they have like the cardinal fucking hats on
Yeah,
and
The
shit.
first
Yeah.
LP, the first full length, it was like a simplified version of Merciful Fate or
Yeah.
King Diamond.
Yeah.
Like, he had the face paint and the
And even if it was a little more poppy, it was good, but it just kind of like,
I actually loved, like, it had a really good bass tone. Like, it had this really, like,
yeah.
driving, like,
It was
good riffs
catchy.
but then the second LP, it was just like, and it's just gone further and further. I mean, the sign was
God.
that they did an ABBA cover on the second LP.
They did a
Okay,
Beatles
wait.
cover when
And
I saw
I'm
it.
not
Second.
dissing ABBA.
Okay.
I
But
love
it was just
ABBA.
a sign
I
of
love
things
ABBA.
to come.
I would never
was-
been an ABBA fan, but I listened to their records recently, and I listened to their first record, and I was just like, holy shit, this isn't a disco record.
Do you have, like, the first one when, the first American one where they're all sitting in a limo?
Yeah.
There's like a Scandinavian only first one with like Ring Ring. It's called Ring Ring.
Okay.
I still have to get that. But yeah, that first LP's good.
Yeah, it was very good.
Hey Hey Helen, that's like
I was very
a hard
surprised.
rock song, which weirdly pop vocals on it.
Yeah. Well, because I was surprised because I was just like, oh fuck, ABBA. I gotta listen to ABBA now. Oh Jesus, here we go.
I like ABBA.
I was very
No,
hesitant to put it on because I was just like, oh, it's gonna be some fucking disco shit. I'm not gonna want to listen to this, and it was good.
Yeah,
It was really good.
they have really talented musicians in the band
Yeah.
writing the songs,
Right.
and then they have these two girls who they sound great together.
But even the performance of the songs,
Yeah.
it was just like it wasn't disco.
No.
It was like a rock record. It
The
was
early
like,
stuff is kind of pop rock, but
Yeah.
it's still good.
They're like-
I even like some of the
They're
disco
like the
stuff.
Scandinavian. They're like the Scandinavian heart.
The what?
Maybe,
No,
a little bit.
Scandinavian heart. The two girls, the
Yeah.
rock
The live
background.
clips of them wearing like the cat shirts, which if you know ABBA, they wear these matching cat shirts that some fans made for them. They look so fucking hot in them. It's like, whatever, dude. And it's a great pop record. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. But this is the Ainsley Dunbar Retaliation cover right here, where he changes the lyrics and it like changes the meaning of the song.
Mm.
Ozzy, in some ways, was a genius for changing kind of the lyrics to the song a little
Well, did
bit.
he change the lyrics?
He did.
Because I was curious about like how exactly is Ozzy as famous as he is for being Ozzy when he didn't even write all the lyrics to the songs?
He definitely didn't. He's a good. He's a
just the front
performer.
man. Right.
Like Frank Sinatra is a performer,
Right.
and there's a lot of good performers. They're better than like they can't write songs, but their performance is just genius.
Speaking of like of the classic albums things, they do
Yeah.
Paranoid,
Right.
and
Yeah,
in
I've
that
seen
they
that
talk about Ozzy would. He was like responsible for the
Writing the melody kind of.
exactly.
Right.
But he would sing along with the
He would like make. They actually
guitars.
played tracks.
Right. That's the melody part.
They would like play
Right.
tracks of him making. He would literally just be in the studio making up words.
A lot of people do
And
that.
then,
apparently.
but then Geezer would go back and write all the actual lyrics.
Oh,
I hear the
okay.
Beatles
So I think
did
that's
that
the
kind of
formula.
shit too. Like they would just make up some bullshit lyrics or something,
Right.
and then go back and write real lyrics. Or
Like
they'd
scrambled
write,
eggs.
yeah, like just write some melody to go with it.
Right.
Because I guess Ozzy would just write nonsense, and then Geezer would be like, "All right," and then
Yeah,
He'd actually
Exactly.
figure something out.
yeah,
Yeah.
something kind of clever. and-
Comprehensive.
which makes
Dark
sense
and-
as a musical device. I mean, just making up fucking skeeble fucking lyrics. Just go skeebality wah 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 like
Yeah.
over something, and then write real lyrics. It makes sense. that is more of a song than like
Yeah.
poetry over like a song or something. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. I couldn't see scat going over very well with this style of music.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying though. Like,
No, I know. No, absolutely.
And during
for
the
sure.
writing process, for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Do some
But I mean, if that's what all Ozzy could do, I mean, because like obviously he
Yeah.
didn't write the words, so it's just like, well, what would he have come up with if it wasn't for Geezer?
We'll never know.
even in the Ozzy band, I guess,
Yeah, his solo career,
like Bob Daisley and stuff wrote a lot of the lyrics or
he
whatever.
still didn't fucking. How does he make his money?
He's a good performer, and his
God
wife,
damn it.
Yeah.
you know, the daughter of Don Arden, one of the best.
One of his managers, right?
Yeah, one of the
Yeah.
best managers of all time. Yeah.
Shit. He hooked up with
Sharon Arden,
what was she,
Sharon
like,
Osbourne.
15 years old or something when.
I think she was older than that, but she might have been like 20, 22 or something
Yeah.
like that. But whatever.
Yeah, I was like actually just picked up a book about Black Sabbath, and I was trying to read it, but I don't do good reading. I fucking fall asleep when I start reading. Seriously, just fucking my eyes just get tired. And I just
I'm
go to
kind of the
sleep.
same way.
Yeah.
I did read Nazi biography like a few years ago, and it's a lot of it just sounds like they set a tape recorder and had him like talking. You know, like he couldn't sit down and write it, but he could sit down and talk about it, and then somebody transcribed it
Oh yeah.
and made it like a little more human and followable as a story. You know.
Oh man, this is almost over.
It
I guess
is.
we're gonna have to do a double whammy. Get Paranoid out.
Alright.
I'd rather do Funhouse actually, but this is.
Funhouse would have been my second pick. We already talked
I
about
know.
this.
We were like,
Yeah.
"Ew."
Well, I gave you 3 choices.
Yeah.
And with it, and
But you had
absolutely
already
fine.
done well, and also I was trying to keep it within our, at least somewhat within our realm of, at least the music we're making at the
See, the
moment.
thing is, it's like,
Even though it's nothing.
regardless
like
of what band you're in, regardless of what music you make, whatever you're influenced by helps create what you make. So whether it is a fucking Black Sabbath record, Ween record,
this. Yeah.
Funhouse, you know, Blue,
Our music's
Stooges.
probably more rooted in the Stooges than this anyway.
I don't know.
Is it? You could argue
Like it
that.
could have been like Exodus Bonded in Blood or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I just
Well,
don't have a copy of that. But you
yeah.
know what? Had
I
I
do.
realized, yeah, had I
You get
realized
your
you
one.
were selling all your records, like I
I'm
didn't
not
realize-
selling them.
Well, no, I mean like you have a Discogs site.
No, that's just so he can keep track of them.
No. I just keep track of all my
Oh, you
records.
just put
on
them
it.
up there. You don't list them for sale.
Oh, it's just for my Well, I have some stuff for sale,
Yeah.
but generally it's just so I can keep track of my collection.
Right.
So like if I'm at a store, I can go like, do I actually own this already?
So this is that is my ongoing problem. Is
you
I
keep
will
rebuying
I
records.
keep rebuying records because I go, I don't know if I have it,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I don't want to come back here or it won't be here, so I buy it, and then I get home and I go to file it away. Ah, shit, I already had it.
But it's not like a different pressing or anything. It's
It
like
usually
the same.
is, and then I keep it.
Yeah.
Like that.
I do that, too.
You know the creator the one,
Yeah.
the one that I got from Armageddon's a European
The
pressing.
third one. You got the German.
Yeah.
So you're not going to sell it
So
to
the
me?
original one's the German, and then the one I just bought's
Son
the
of a
American.
bitch. I don't have that one. I do have an extra copy of Pleasure to Kill. Picture disc.
Yeah. I bought a double, and he goes, "Oh, I'll take it off you." And then I got home, and I was like, looking at it, I was like, nah, it's a different pressing.
I'm still going to
Sorry.
find it. Was it Terrible Certainty?
Yeah.
I could find it. It's like a $20 record, so whatever.
It's probably, it probably went down, too, because they just reissued all those.
Oh, really?
They did.
Oh, what happened? Oh,
clipped
shit.
Again. Clipped again.
Clipped?
It's too much rock for the computer.
I guess.
Can't handle it.
Too much blues rock.
I gotta admit, I love this record.
Dude, it's so good.
And you know, it's funny because I've never been a big vinyl guy. I
Yeah.
didn't get into vinyl until maybe a few years ago, and a lot of the records that I've been able to get doing this whole resale thing, I've never had the opportunity to listen to them on vinyl before, and putting them on, like being able to listen to it on vinyl now for the first time is just so, like, it's a momentous occasion, you know? Like, I got to listen to the third state of Velvet Underground and Nico debut record.
Yeah.
I was floored. I was so floored because it was just like I put it on and I just got to sit there, like just listen to it, like, and I was just like, I know I love these songs. I've always
Yeah.
loved these songs, and now like hearing it like this, like it just fucking
Yeah.
like ripped me apart.
There's nothing better than that. There's nothing
Yeah.
better than having something I've known my whole life, and then I finally get on vinyl and I hear it in a completely new way. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah, so this is one of those moments because it's just like, I mean, you know, this is a 2010. I mean, I would have really appreciated this to be like an original copy,
Yeah.
but it turned out it was a 2010, which is not so bad, you know. like I was asking you before, I mean, sound quality wise, I mean, what did you think?
Like I said, it's hard to keep a good song down. I mean, I can't really tell in these conditions right here.
You'd almost
But
like
I
the
mean,
AB.
if I was in my living room, just fucking had it at like, you know, an 8 out of 10 or whatever,
Yeah.
I'm sure it'd just fucking blow my socks off like every other time I've listened to it when I've really paid attention.
Right. Yeah. Well, for the 180 gram, because this is 180 gram.
Yeah.
I mean, what's your experience with the vinyl press on 180 grams, whether it's repressing or it's original or not?
I don't know if I have 180 gram of this. I have a lot of like 70s and 80s presses of this. And I think I have the one on, what's that, Earmark. And I can't remember what that sounds like, but it's probably mastered off a CD. Because it was kind of a weird, sketchy label.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the songs sound great anyway. Like, as long as you don't peg it like it's some, like, weird CD mastering job where it's like everything is, like, at the maximum decibel, like, almost clipping.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like that weird shit like that.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a vinyl mastering of it. I mean, it sounds good. It still has dynamics and whatever.
I mean, so...
The quieter parts sound quiet.
Right.
The loud parts, sound loud. It's good.
So supposedly
Mm-hmm.
cut from the original analog masters.
Right.
So, I mean...
The only thing in question here is the skill of the mastering engineer now or 2010 versus 1970.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's the same source.
Different set of years.
Different set of ears, I guess, but
And he could have been old and had bad. He could have bad ears like us. And master his shit.
The whole vinyl...
Gotta
vinyl
get like a
pressing-
7-year-old to master stuff. You know, it's like kids these days. They
Oh
don't
my
use
God.
computers like.
this is such a fucking classic album. I don't know how you could fuck it up. You know? I mean, if somebody along the line had to listen to the master cut that they did of this on, an acetate or something,
Mm.
and if there was anything wrong with it, I think they would have fucking piped up and said, like, dude, what the fuck is this shit? You know?
Right. But then even still, it's just like, then they'd be like changing it from its original variation, like its original release, right? If they were to like to
It's gonna be
remix,
slightly-
like, to remaster it or something, like to
It's
remix
going to
it
be
where-
slightly different, even from like the early 70s, because each set of plates they cut from the mother, I mean, they could only do like 1,000 to 2,000 copies
right before they have to
before they have to like recut it from the mother again.
right. That's where it's like gets weird and is like an art form.
Yeah,
And
Absolutely.
like,
absolutely.
I mean, I've heard about people like saying that reissues like sound like shit, but I'm like,
There are some reissues that do sound like shit because they're mastered off like a CD.
right.
I
But,
think
like-
I told you, I picked up Love Forever Changes.
Mm-hmm.
I picked up the Love Forever Changes. I literally got it for $2. First press. Like, I checked the matrix and everything, and it turned out the first press was done in two in one location and one at like another.
Different pressing plants, you mean?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And there was like 1 and 2 at like in
Like
they
a
had, like,
Terre
an
Haute, and then there was one.
It was like A and
LA.
B, and then there was like a C at like another
Press
one,
or
and then I
That's
guess like.
so common in stuff from like.
But apparently,
60s, 70s,
there
yeah.
was two. Two were really desirable and one wasn't, or one wasn't, or vice versa. But I looked them all up, and I scored the good
Really?
pressing of it.
And there's that, I can't think of the
It's like,
website. It's like Hot
how
Cuts
do
or
you-
something.
How do you know this stuff? You know, like
You listen to it, I guess.
I know
It's so much weird
Ugh.
shit. Like
There's this website that even, it's like called Hot Cuts or something. It's just finding like the masters onto vinyl, like the vinyl masters, not the masters from the master tape.
Mm-hmm.
And they find like the different masters that sound best or whatever, and then they jack the price up like incredibly of stuff. It's like it's weird. I mean, I guess they're
should I crack this?
If you want,
I didn't know if you.
we
Yeah,
wrap it
wrap
up
up.
here. Or we just gonna talk shit for a long time.
you guys can talk about whatever the fuck you want for as long as you want. I mean,
But
I'm
anyways, yeah, because it's an analog process, you know, somebody's ears are going into like cutting this master,
Right.
their equalization job. The equipment they were using that time, when was the last time they replaced the stylus on the cutting lathe or whatever? I mean,
Right.
there's a million things that could affect this.
And just being an opinion, right? You're like, oh, that sounds good to me.
That too.
I'm happy
Yeah,
with
it's
that.
completely.
For all like.
It's subjective. Sometimes just something that is louder will sound good to you just because of the psychoacoustics of it. It's just like, you know, this sounds louder, so it sounds better.
Mm-hmm.
When necessarily, if you turn the other thing up to the same volume, it might sound just as good or better.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I mean, we went through that with our new record. We went back and forth with the mixing, back and forth, and like to listen to that mix, you had to blast it. And then once we got we got it actually mastered and got it back, it was like boom.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the thing with when they talk about modern mastering, where everything is just like louder.
Yeah.
That's how they make everything sound quote unquote more intense. Is just have everything mastered louder. But it was like, what if you listen to this loud master versus this more balanced master at the same volume? Will you get more dynamics out of it, where things just sound more like it has more impact?
Mm-hmm.
Because you know like those, if you ever seen like the what is it, like Master of Puppets, like the original mastering job versus like the mastering job in 2010 or whatever, where it's everything is just like right at the top of clipping. It's almost clipping all the way through. It sounds louder, but doesn't have as much impact as like the, you know, the 1985 mix.
Still, you know what's funny is I don't have any original Metallica LPs.
Really?
I only have those reissues.
Because it's too
And
fucking
they-
expensive.
And they don't sound great.
Right.
They don't. They're
Yeah.
like, eh.
That's what I've heard. I
They
mean, I
sound
have all
real-
the old stuff because I'm fucking
So like
old.
I've had the CDs. I've had
Yeah.
the CDs for 20 plus years.
Mm-hmm.
There's no improvement. It's
Yeah.
like that's always a bummer for me when I like have all these CDs and then like I'm like, oh, I'm finally gonna get the vinyl, and I put it on, I'm like,
Sounds the same.
ugh, I just spent $30 to listen to.
Do you have multiple pressings of? I just want to talk about this.
Sure.
Is the not Master of Puppets? What do you call it? The Ride the Lightning, where there's some versions that have at the end of Fade to Black. It's like the thing where he says like, "Now I'll just say goodbye." After that, there's either it's dead silence on the vocals, or it says goodbye, like in a weak echo kind of vocal thing. It's
No,
like
I
a
don't know.
different mastering or mixing job or both.
Weird.
And I've heard both on like commercial radio, so it's like,
I have an old CD version and then I have a 20.
yeah, the Megaforce
Something.
version from like 85 or whatever it was, 84. It definitely has that goodbye, like in the background. You can just hear it in the background. It's not a foreground vocal, it's just like a weird echo that they like turned way down to like 1.
Weird.
I mean, we've learned though, you know, speaking about like our recording, like we were kind of like all listening to it, trying to like listen to the mix and see what we all thought about certain things. Are your drums loud enough? This loud enough? And one of the things, I'm totally wrong. Going back to the cover that we did, the Snow White cover.
Yeah.
So there's an 83 demo, an 84 demo.
Different versions, yeah.
Different versions. And we had this whole thing going on between Brian, myself, and Sam, our bassist, where we were hearing different things. And we realized when we brought it, like he was listening to his house, I was listening to my house. We're all hearing different stuff. And then
It's
when
because
we
there's
got-
3 different fucking versions
well,
of
that
song.
too. But then also when we got to the practice space
Stereo.
and listened to it through the PA at our practice space, there was notes and things that I was not hearing at my house.
I was hearing stuff that these guys weren't,
You were
but
about to say
I'm.
girls.
Huh?
Yeah,
You were about to say girls.
he was. Yeah.
I was listening to
These
some
girls
girls,
didn't hear these
and these
notes.
girls didn't hear. No, these guys didn't hear like these, like it would go like like I
It
was
was like
hearing
higher notes that were.
a higher note that they weren't hearing.
weird.
And I was like, dude, I was like playing it. I have like a guitar behind my drum set. Then I'll like just pick up a guitar and I'll like, this is what they're playing.
Right. This is what I hear.
Yeah, this is what I
you guys
hear. And
doing
then they'll still like, I don't fucking hear those higher
But
notes.
it started to make
It
me
was so
question,
crazy.
It started to make me question like my setup at home. I'm like,
Oh,
are my
Jesus.
speakers shit? Or is my receiver? What's wrong?
Right.
But I don't, honestly,
Wait.
I think it came down to speakers.
Wait. So you're listening at home on CD, I'm assuming.
No, like YouTube, like a digital.
Yeah,
Oh,
like through his
because-
phone or whatever.
Because
plugs
you're the
into his
only one I
stereo.
think that
There was
owns
some,
that
like-
LP.
Okay.
So we were all listening to it on some
Yeah, I think
digital
I
form.
did.
How did you guys record? Like, what did you record to? Like tape, or was it digital?
It was digital.
Yeah.
Oh.
But this is before that. This is when we were
just
in our
trying to figure
practice
out
space.
how to play the covers.
Yeah,
Oh,
we have to
okay.
figure out a song before we can actually
Like-
play it, you know?
There's no YouTube tutorial on those songs.
No.
I mean,
No, I thought you were talking about the mix downs of the record.
yeah, I started off that way, and then
Okay.
I realized that.
You
lost me.
diverged
You
from.
lost me.
Yeah,
This is just
in the-
figuring out how to play the song.
Right. Okay.
Like, I'm hearing one thing, these guys are hearing another thing.
Yeah.
So my point was like, kind of talking about this whole thing about mastering, and sometimes it comes down to the equipment that it's played on too.
Yeah.
It just
you know,
your
and Brian was
brain.
saying like this, you have those. Sometimes you get vinyl that's like from a CD master. I bought some of the Danzig, like bootlegs. First couple Danzigs, like, they're probably never gonna get repressed.
Mm-hmm.
They're like $100, $200. And
Yeah.
I took a shot and I bought like the first one. It sounded worse than my CD copy. I A/B'd them. I actually like put it on, press. I was like, oh, really?
That sucks.
Worse.
Mm. Yeah, that's the crapshoot, I guess, man. That's kind of why I do this show. You know, I'm just like, listen to what I got right here.
I don't know what the CDs sound like in this, because I only have Sold Out Souls for Rock and Roll on CD.
Well, I told Brian
Yeah.
on the way over that in the early 2000s they remastered the first like 5-6 albums or something.
Yeah.
And they were, at least on CD, a significant improvement off the original Warner CDs from like
right.
the 80s or 90s.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not too familiar with like the whole discography as far as like all of the different pressings and
Yeah.
CD and LPs that they've
Yeah.
made. I mean, to me,
It was like the
if
first,
it
like I
sounds
said,
good,
it was like the
sounds
first,
good.
what's that shirt, like, it's like, you can only trust yourself in the first, like, 5 Black Sabbath albums or something, which is bullshit, but
I don't know what you're talking about.
there's like some shirt that says, like, you can only trust yourself in the first 5 Black Sabbath, I don't know.
Usually I hear it's either 4 or 6, not 5. So this is a weird one to
Maybe
me.
it's, I don't know.
Like, I know
Right in
people
between.
who only do the first 4 of Black Sabbath, and then people who only do the first 6. And then people who only do the Ozzy albums, which I think is the Dio albums.
We like the Dio and the Tony Martin. Some of the Tony
I
Martin.
like some of the Tony Martin and Ian Gillan.
Ian Gill too. He's only one though, right?
He's only one.
Just Born Again.
Born Again's a great LP. I love it. I absolutely love
Everyone had a crack at being the singer of Black
it.
Sabbath.
Apparently, yeah.
Yeah, but they all did a decent job.
The thing is, they had Tony Iommi writing songs behind him.
That's
He's-
all that mattered.
Although I have the first Iommi solo album, it's not that good. Even though Glenn Hughes is on it. Some of the riffs are okay, but like the production is like, it's like radio metal, like early 2000s kind of shit. It's like, oof. Not so good.
And when did that come out?
2004. Something like
Oh,
that.
okay.
Something, maybe even 98 for the first one. I
So
don't
it's like
know.
a newer record.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that kind of goes along with what I was saying before about the whole new metal thing.
Mm.
Like, even though he's the father, or presumably one of the fathers of heavy metal, right?
Yeah.
He could go off and create a solo record in 2004, many years after this, and it would be like a new metal style of record.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
I mean, that's absolutely what it was. It was kind of like, it didn't have that 70s amp sound.
Yeah. So he's like playing through fucking, what do they call those things?
Line 6?
Yeah, line 6 or
I don't even know. But I don't know what he was playing through. But yeah, it's definitely, especially after like Dehumanizer, the third Dio album, third Dio studio album, where it kind of gets a kind of a little new metal tone to the guitars. But Dehumanizer is a great LP, nonetheless.
Yeah.
You get Dio on
You
vocal.
made me check that record out. I never even considered listening to that
Dude,
record.
that album is so fucking good.
Just the cover alone, I was like, oh, this looks terrible.
Yeah, the cover's a little sketchy. For
I
sure.
mean, like, that was like a dollar bin like CD, you know. It was like,
Could have been.
yeah, it was not
92,
for bargain.
right?
It was like, it was always in like the bargain
CDs for
CDs.
$1 are pretty easy these days anyway, but
Yeah, but yeah, and I was like, wait, that's actually good.
Dude, it is so good.
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, you know. I mean,
I'll never forget.
Sometimes things make more sense in like, like years later.
Yeah, well, like, you know what, I want to revisit Eternal Idol. And
I don't think that one was good, as far as I remember. I haven't listened to it
I
in
just
years.
remember buying it on cassette when I was a kid and being super bummed,
Yeah.
terribly bummed.
But
I
they
bet-
still have
but I
good
bet
albums
now
from like 5
I'd get
years
it.
before or after. They
But
still
I
have
bet
good
you'd
albums.
like it now.
Yeah.
I bet I'd get it.
if you can find it cheap enough, right?
Yeah. You know, I bought the bootleg of Forbidden, which is their last non-Ozzy solo album from '95, and it's produced by who is it? Ernie B from Jesus Christ, Ice-T's metal band. Body Count. From Body Count. It has a rap part on it too. But some of the songs they're still fucking good on it.
Yeah.
For real.
Wow.
Like, dude, I was surprised when I listened to some like Kiss albums that I was like, way after you think they'd still have good songs, and they still have 3 or 4 good songs on them. It's fucking great. Like Asylum. Who would ever think that Kiss Asylum has any good
that's the
songs on
standard
it?
for any record. Any good record has 2, 3 good songs.
I wouldn't even say it's a good record, but it has a few good songs on it.
Well, that's all you need.
Yeah.
You need 2 or 3 good songs.
And it's a $3 LP, so I was like, I didn't feel bad about buying it, but it's like, this song is as good as like Mid-Period Accept, or something like Accept the Balls to the Wall band. This is a fucking decent, fucking fast, hard rock heavy metal song, something like that.
I have
On
Asylum
a Kiss.
I have Asylum on LP. I guarantee I've never even listened to it. If
Listen
once.
to it, dude. I'm telling you, there's 2 or 3 good songs on that.
Hey, let me ask
I have
you
it on
guys.
vinyl. Yeah.
Let me ask you. So, do you think your fan base are big, massive metal fans? Like know about as much about metal as you guys do?
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
I think some people who just see us live are impressed because they see a guy with a fucking big long beard and they.
Like,
How does
that's
that old guy do
disappointing.
that?
I've definitely had like when we played in Portland, Maine, some guy who was like older than me came up to me and was like, I was gonna leave, but then I saw you fucking getting up there, and I had to see what you guys were about. He was like, you guys are fucking amazing. You totally amazed me or whatever. I don't know if it was just because it was like a guy with like a fucking foot-long ZZ Top beard playing like thrash and fucking grindcore tempo fucking songs or what.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, I would say like he was probably singing like, well, I know I can't move so good, so I mean,
Something. I
you're
don't
gonna play
know.
drums. I mean, yeah.
And some young girl, I thought it was actually Rachel at first. It was a girl who looked like Rachel, his old girlfriend. And it was like dark. I can't see very well because I have like scars in the back of my retinas on both eyes.
Oh, okay.
I have like bad fucking vision
He
problems.
stared at the sun.
I stared
for
at the
hours as a
sun and no, it's who knows, it's some genetic problem with my eyes that my fucking retinas are fucked up. Well, yeah, this like young girl, probably like 25, 26, was like, you guys are fucking amazing. It was like, as playing it, I'm like, I can't relate to like this, you guys are amazing fucking thing.
Well,
It just seemed totally weird. It's like,
I mean, you gotta be used to that to some degree. I mean, you've been playing since late '80s, right?
yeah,
And
in
so
different bands.
You always, right, and always in different bands, but like you always reach some people that are just like, oh my god.
I
that's
have
the
like
most-
chronic depression, so to me it's like when anybody like says that like I do something good, to me it's like what the fuck were you watching? Like,
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
Oh,
I mean,
Well-
I can relate to that.
I always try to do my best because
right,
I don't want to let the rest of the band down.
of course. I I mean, we're always harder on ourselves as performers.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
But I
Absolutely.
mean, it doesn't mean that what you're doing isn't good.
I guess.
Well, right. You're gonna
You
downplay
just
it
have
anyway.
to. You just have to
but-
like remember not to make that like cringe face when you fuck up.
Well, because
I think
That's
it's
like the key.
I laugh more than when I fuck up. I laugh because I think it's just funny.
Yeah.
I'm not embarrassed about it. I mean, it's a moment, and the moment's passed,
right.
and then it's out in space, and who knows if it was good anymore. I don't think about like everybody has a fucking camera phone now, and they're
Right.
recording video of every one of our fucking.
But even so, like
Bullshit.
who goes back to that footage that they're recording?
Yeah.
But
true.
as far as a fan is concerned, that says to you, "Hey, I fucking love what you did."
I'm just hoping that they're like
They don't
fucking
know.
high or drunk, and they just enjoyed it in that moment. Like I know I do. Like
As
when
long
I'm
as they
fucked
enjoyed
up.
it, right?
Yeah.
That's all
Well,
that matters. I
so
mean,
I-
that's why you.
I was gonna say like to the original question, like I do all of our social media stuff, the
Yeah.
Instagram and the Facebook and stuff, and Facebook is at this point it's just a place to like advertise your show. To like it does nothing for us, but like Instagram is like kind of the only tool bands have anymore
Yeah.
to really like.
I don't
reach
even know.
anybody.
I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
That's how old I am.
Well,
But
you
go ahead.
follow us. You
I
follow
do, but I
Facebook.
don't really
Yeah, but
understand.
open it up.
But out of
I have 300 fans of my personal profile, and it's like, you know, I might get 30 likes of something that I fucking post, which is usually like, I listened to this fucking Voivod record. Dude, this fucking shit is still sick. Like, that's the extent of my...
But that's almost the same thing. Like, so I think a lot of people that follow us, or the people that I follow, or the people that comment on our posts, or just like our band in general, are like us. Like, for the most part. And what's cool is they're in Australia, and they're in like South America, and
Oh, that's great.
like cool place. You know,
yeah.
they're into the same stuff. Like, I think actually, I think our style is very similar to like a lot of the South American.
Well,
thrash bands
metal
and
in
stuff.
general, yeah, it's big in all of those different foreign countries.
Yeah.
You know, I think more so than even in the States. It seems that way to me, at least. From
Yeah.
from an
Yeah,
outsider's
like
perspective.
European metal festivals are a completely different monster from American metal festivals. I can tell you that much
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
Like I've played Obscene Extreme in Czech Republic before. There were like 5,000 people there. All of them, they're there for like 3-4 days, just drunk, doing drugs, dressing up like it's ridiculous shit. It is such a fucking experience. I'm gonna get to go back there because Drop Dead got invited back to play again. And we're gonna get to play with Low Life, which is basically Cryptic Slaughter.
Repulsion.
Repulsion are playing that, who are like I never thought I'd get to see Repulsion. They were like a cult fucking band from like buttfuck fucking Michigan that like just because of their isolation or whatever just came up with this crazy proto grindcore style that like it just connects to me so fucking much.
It still does. It's still amazing.
It's unfucking believable. It just blows my mind every time I hear that LP. That fucking Horrified LP. Holy shit. And I listened to like, I used to be like 86, 87. I was so into Cryptic Slaughter. And like now those guys are like as Low Life. It's like 2 original members and then like some other dudes.
Well, I
that
think it's
sh-
dudes from Repulsion.
One of the dudes,
Repulsion.
Matt from Repulsion, is in the
Is
new
in.
Cryptic Slaughter.
Mhm.
It's 2 guys, Les and Scott, who I wrote to Scott in like 86, 87. I used to pen pal with him. Just the idea that these fucking guys are still around and they're making music, and hopefully they'll play live and they'll play even like a tenth as good as those LPs that I remember and like that I've listened to recently, and that it's just like it brought back everything from like
I saw-
86,
so-
87.
Wow.
The festival we're playing, the Maryland Death Festival.
Maryland Death, yeah.
So that's we're playing Sunday, May 26th, and they nicely put us with a lot of bands that we kind of
DRI.
fit into. Accused,
Accused.
Low Life, which is
Low Life
Cryptic
is Cryptic
Slaughter,
Slaughter, basically.
and I mean those are the bands that influence us in a way, or at least early on, like
Absolutely.
especially the Cryptic Slaughter thing. I mean, I was geeking out. I even sent Scott Peterson a video of me skateboarding when I was like 14 years old.
That's great.
We had a VHS camcorder, and we make these skate videos, and then like it had actually an auxiliary, had the inputs, and we could actually like put a soundtrack to it.
Yeah.
And all this stuff, and I literally sent it to Scott. I was like, do you realize like I used one of your songs off your first LP for my skate video when I was 14, and here I am like 30 years later, and our bands are playing together?
Yeah.
Like, I can't even wrap my head around that. And the crazy thing is Scott was 15.
He was like 15 when Cryptic Slaughter started, 85.
So he was the age that I was making these skateboard videos. Like, it was like...
I mentioned this recently, that like, I was like, dude, we're going to get to play together with Straight Talent, Maryland Death Fest, and then at Obscene Extreme in Trutnov, Czech Republic with Drop Dead. And like, I wrote to you guys to interview you guys in February 1987, probably January, and then he answered in like February or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, how about Brian had a photo. Brian had this little.
I had a photograph
black and white
that
photo.
he sent me in '87 for like an interview for my like high school punk scene. That like nobody in my high school was into punk. There was like 3 fucking kids. I just made a zine anyways because at the time I was like, I didn't realize zines existed, and then I bought a bunch. I was like, I can fucking do this. The whole punk fucking DIY ethic kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then like I interviewed DRI too. I didn't interview
those bands. It's crazy.
And then we're playing with these bands in fucking May 2019.
Yeah.
I sent Brian sent me that photo. And I sent it to Scott. He's like, I've never seen this picture.
He sent me that picture. He
No, it
didn't
was
remember
Les.
it.
You said Les sent it.
No, it was actually Scott. I went back
Oh.
to the thing, and it was Scott who sent me it.
Oh, he said he never saw it.
He definitely saw it because he sent it to me, but it had been so long. It'd been
That's
30
so
fucking 33 years or whatever, 32 years.
So
Huh.
yeah,
Wow. That's crazy, guys.
geeking out.
Yeah. Good for you, though. I mean, like, that's so great. Like, being able to, you know, connect to the guys that influenced you to do this
Yeah.
shit in the first place. So cool. So cool.
I got to do it a little bit in Drop Dead already, but like
Yeah.
more of these bands have even done like reunions and whatever. And I already get it. Well, like guys, dude, it's so funny. Like guys who are like, dude, I've been waiting to see you guys like Drop Dead my whole fucking life since I was a teenager. It'll be a guy with a gray beard.
Yeah.
It's like, Jesus Christ, how long have we fucking been around? It's like crazy. but
Brian's
I-
lucky. Brian gets to do
It's
it
been a long
with
time.
his side band and his main.
Yeah, right.
So cool. Yeah, I mean, I wish I could talk to you guys more about all of that stuff. Actually, the fucking computer shit out. It stopped, so I started to record us over here just so I can put it
Nice.
together at least.
Sick.
And the video didn't stop, so that's great. So the video is complete at least, so I know I have
My
that.
ears are hot.
Yeah, I know. Fucking
Air them out.
Same with
Mine are
the,
fine. I don't know.
same with the phones. I know it's a little bit much.
That's because you got the hair. There's like some breathing.
The
some
hair, right,
breathing.
right.
I just got like a suction. It's like.
Yeah. Oh, those are brand new too.
Your G.I. Joe
I also
fucking haircut.
exfoliated just today.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Oh, because of the 2 people.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
I
just
forgot
changed the
to
whole
ask you to
format.
bring headphones. So
I
was just like,
could've.
Yeah, fuck. You know what?
I could have. I have some new Mark headphones they could have
I
brought.
was just like, you got a SM57.
Yeah, no, I know.
58.
58. Sorry.
I
This is
sold
a
my two
57, right?
57s.
Is this a 57? That's 50.
That's a 57.
That's
Okay.
57.
These are my
That's
58s,
58.
yeah.
But yeah, I asked you to bring it just because I know we didn't have it, and then when I didn't ask you about the headphones, I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go buy some new ones because if I might have other people in here that'll be like, you know, multiple people and fucking whatever. I'll need them anyway. So they're not very expensive. I just
They always have them on
They'll
like
last forever.
stupid
hope
deal of
so.
the day. They always have them on Musicians Friend. They always have headphones.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the time.
Well,
I was like, I always think about buying them. I'm like, nah, I don't really need them.
I didn't think that far ahead.
You had more bullet, I see. Bullet. I don't know how to even say this stuff. I think I've been to the...
Bullet. I don't know.
Bullet?
Bullet.
Distilling.
We're in America, right? It's bullet.
Right.
bullet.
Yeah, I
I mean, do they expect
Did
to
I?
leave?
I'm looking
No,
for
maybe
an
not.
endorsement deal at some point. Because I'm just drinking so much of this shit.
yeah, right here. If Buffalo Trace is following this,
Yeah? Where is this
Yep.
from?
I think
Good.
Buffalo Trace makes this. The original weeded bourbon. Old Weller.
The original is in the first.
That's what it says right there. Yeah. I don't know if it's the first weed. It's my favorite weeded bourbon though. The Weller.
Cool.
I don't really like Maker's Mark is the famous weeded bourbon.
I don't like Makers either.
I don't like Maker's either.
It's too burny.
Yeah,
Right.
I agree. And
Shit.
Old Fitzgerald was the other weeder that was popular, but they don't make that anymore, and they changed the name to oh Jesus Christ! It starts with L.
Old something.
No, it's not an old this time. Larceny.
Larceny.
Yeah,
Whoa.
Oh, that's
Larceny. That's another one. That's made by Heaven Hill. One of the few distillers left in the U.S.
Old Granddad was charged with old larceny.
Old Granddad made by Jim Beam these days.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
I like Old Granddad a lot too. I'm not just like into like these weird.
Oh, that's the
Things-
that's the weird, that's the bottom shelf, like bar type, right?
It's
The Old
it's
Granddad.
mid shelf. It's like $18-19 for like a fifth, like for $7.50.
Okay.
It's still good. I think it's still good. Fucking juice. The 114 Old Granddad 114 proof. That stuff is great. It's like $30.
Mm-hmm.
And it's 114 proof, so you're like
Yeah.
flying high again after you have a few fucking belts of it here, you know.
Hey, let me ask you, did you have any of this tonight?
The bullet, yeah, that was the
Okay.
first one I had.
Okay.
I've had it
Right.
numerous times before.
I like to treat my guests. I mean, I don't.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
I didn't know you were gonna bring your own.
Dude, I love sharing my bourbon with other people, and you had some of this, right?
I did.
Because
I did
most
have
of
some.
us, yeah, like,
You're not a bourbon guy.
no,
Had I
So,
known,
like,
I would
when
have
you-
bought some beer too. I mean,
no.
I don't
this
like
is fine.
beer.
Okay.
I knew this
I'm
was
a
your.
bourbon
I
guy.
knew Brian was gonna be excited about that.
Yeah, I could have brought some crazy
you know,
stuff
my,
too.
my dad actually brought me this today. I haven't seen my parents since like Christmas, and he's like,
Really?
yeah, brought me some nice IPAs.
Oh, nice. Do you like the IPA?
Generally, that's my
I'm not a big fan.
Yeah,
Some people say it tastes like soap.
It's not very metal of me to drink IPA. You
Well,
know?
my-
I should be
My
drinking
wife said
PBR.
it tastes
but-
like earwax.
Really?
Yeah.
so she's
Okay.
eating earwax.
I'm not a beer
I
guy. I'm
agree.
just like
You can't
bourbon.
help it.
Bourbon
Sometimes
and
you get
rye.
the itch, and then you're like, well, yeah,
A little salty.
You
Yeah, I
gotta
don't-
like, you gotta taste all your bodily fluids at some point. You know, you gotta kind of know, gotta know what's happening.
Yeah, this one is going out to Metal Mike, our friend Metal Mike. He like one of his jokes at one time was going like, hey, you ever tasted your cum? Me and Adam have. I mean, it'd be okay if you did too. He like trying to get you to admit that you tasted your own cum.
It depends on
That
the
was his
situation.
joke.
It depends on the situation.
Like in another girl's mouth, or just like straight from the spigot.
Exactly.
Like-
Because, like, it's like, you know, I think the woman's interpretation is like, oh, I'll do it if you're willing to kiss me afterwards. You know, it's just like, okay, fine, sure, all right. Just to make sure that
It's watered down.
you make sure you can get that seal that deal. You know.
I've been drinking pineapple juice all day.
Pineapple juice.
Totally good.
Dude, I love pineapple juice, but I love the myth behind pineapple juice.
The ladies love it more
Yes, exactly.
because they're like, oh, God, I wish it tasted like a pineapple juice. All right, so I guess we're good. We're good for tonight, huh?
We're good?
All right. Well, thank you again.
Woo.
Appreciate it, guys. New record will be out soon.
We hope. Be on tape.
For those that,
I know.
for whatever
Tape
will
only
not
on
be
this
out,
vinyl show.
we got the old record out, the old EP out. Free download on Bandcamp, right?
Or if you want to give us some money, feel free.
It's
Yeah, it is.
optional
It's
donation,
donate
right?
what you want.
Yeah. So please give up some money, and they
What is
have the
What is the thing besides the sticker pack?
CD.
The
No, let me see that.
unofficial CD.
I've never seen this.
Oh,
The unofficial CD.
Those are the black CDRs. Check
I'm
it
sorry,
out.
that's only my copy.
Remember we were
No
talking
one
about
else
black
can have that.
CDRs?
I haven't seen that.
Black
no.
on black.
And then I got this sticker pack, and on Bandcamp you guys have the cassette available with the.
Or it shows. Come see us live.
Yeah,
Where are
you
we
guys are
playing soon?
You guys are playing at
Playing Machines with Magnets.
In
2 weeks.
Pawtucket, Rhode Island.
27th, is it?
29.
400 Main
29.
Street,
Friday the
Pawtucket.
29th.
Friday 29th in Pawtucket.
And
Machines with
April
Magnets, which is a great
13th.
venue.
April
Or
13th,
14th?
13th, I think. With Psycho in Boston at Cantab.
Okay. I mean, I will link everything anyway, so whatever you guys
Okay.
have,
So,
let me know.
funny
and I will-
story.
And the Maryland Death Fest.
Maryland Death Fest, of course.
Psycho, who we're playing with,
What about him?
in that
Little
photograph,
psychos.
Les from Cryptic Slaughter is wearing a Psycho
Right.
shirt in the photo
In the thing
from
I
86.
published in my zine from February 2087, when I was still in high school, he's wearing a Psycho shirt. And then we're playing with Psycho.
They're still going.
They're still
Wow.
going.
Amazing.
Those guys are even older than me, which is fucking amazing.
That's great.
And I love Johnny and Charlie, who are like guys I've been in communication with since the old fucking days.
Nice.
Awesome dudes.
Awesome dudes.
That's great, man. I'm so happy to hear about it. It's just like that fucking community is still so alive and strong. You know.
Fuck it, man. I have nothing else to live for.
Hey, man, it's what you're made for, right?
Yeah.
If this is what you want to do and that you're doing it is all
Brian,
can
you
ask
have
for.
purpose.
I have a purpose in
No,
life to play
trust me.
drums with underground bands. Still communicate with guys from fucking 35 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you guys.
You're welcome.
Yep.
Thank you for having us.
I'll link everything for you.
All right,
Yeah.
thank you. Fuck life. That's my final
Wow.
statement.
Prison of the sky, die, fall, turn into the